This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL Premiership season.
AFL. On your radio.
On digital. And take us with you on the ABC Listener.
Look for the AFL button.
Arch rivals Geelong and Hawthorn renew hostilities at Kardinia Park as the rampaging Hawks look to keep the finals flame flickering. With 5 wins on the trot over Brisbane and now GWS, they turn their attention to the stuttering Cats, who had won their opening 7 matches, but now they're looking to stay in touch with the top 4 with just 2 wins out of their last 8. Back on the winners list last week against the Bombers at the MCG. It's round 17 of the AFL, Geelong and Hawthorn on ABC Sport. Hi everyone, Matt Clinch with you. It's a rather cool day down at the Cattery as most of us made the trek down the highway, but we are expecting a sellout and the stage is perfectly set. There's one late change with Mitch Nevitt being replaced by Jai Clark for the Cats, and Ollie Henry and Harry Morrison will be the subs this afternoon. Lauren Borden to call the action alongside me. Welcome to you, Loz.
Thanks, Clinchy. It is, about 9 degrees at the moment down here in Geelong, so it's a bit fresh, but it's a real test for Hawthorn today coming out here to try and win 6 in a row. They've won their last 5 by an average of about 33 points, but it's a pretty big test when you're coming to play Geelong here at Kardinia Park, and they won their way into a little bit of form, the Cats, last week against Essendon. And it's just the second time the Hawks have been down here at Kardinia Park, so normally they're the tenants of the MCG when these two sides face. Of course, they met at Easter back in round 5. The Cats were flying. We had lightning on that occasion, and the game got halted at three-quarter time. Nathan Burke, our Hall of Famer, is here and ready to go for another Saturday afternoon. Welcome to you, Burkey.
Hello, Clinchy. Hello, Loz. Yes, it's a good day for footy. It's obviously going to get a little bit dark later on, but no wind to speak of. A little bit chilly. It's great viewing, hopefully, and the Hawks can really take it up to the Cats.
Absolutely. And we're very happy to have Daniel Harford with us for the first time in season 2024. Welcome to you, Harf. Great to have you on board.
Good on your team. Nice to be here. Very excited about this contest, I must admit. So if I'm going to make a debut this year, this is the place to do it, I reckon. This is good.
Very nicely done. So how have you read one of your former clubs, the Hawks, who have been flying, and question as to whether Sam Mitchell can translate that form down here at Kardinia Park. Of course, no James Sicily, but Mitch Lewis makes his return.
Yeah, keen to see Big Mitchie do something for the Hawks. Get him out. Obviously, the forward line with his leg fracture is going to be a bit of a different dynamic. So we'll see how the Chol-Lewis thing looks up close and personal today. After the first 5 rounds, I was sitting there going, what the hell is going on with this football club? But couldn't get a clearance, couldn't get a tackle, couldn't move the ball, couldn't defend. And all of a sudden, after the little Curnow campfire type chat they seemingly had in the rooms at Waverley Park one afternoon, they've turned it around and played some really dynamic footy. Their contest game is back. The clearance game and contest game is back, and that's going to be the key, I think, today for either team. Geelong's clearance work's been really lacklustre. Haven't got the big guns in there anymore. Danger's back now to give some assistance there, but they just don't have the depth through that area of the ground. So I'm keen to see a really strong performance from the Cats here. They've had a couple of games here in the last 4 or 5 weeks. They've lost to Port, lost to GWS. They beat Richmond here, but uninspired, and they were in that game largely. So that whole home ground advantage they've had here for so long, which is such a stranglehold for so many years, seems to have dissipated. And I reckon the Hawks are sniffing a carcass here today, and I reckon we'll see a really strong showing.
Absolutely. On the back of some of their really strong defensive work over the last 5 weeks, they've been the side restricting the least amount of inside 50s, and they've actually drawn up the scoring as well. They've only used the 26 players that have been in red-hot form. The Cats, on the other hand, Berkey, we got to see them last week against the Bombers, back on the winners list. Gary Rowan gets to celebrate his 200th game today. So he's taken a little bit of ups and downs across his footy journey with the Sydney Swans and the Cats, but his 15th season in the AFL, he gets to the 200-game milestone.
Yeah, and he was good last week. A typical slow start from Gary. He's not a 4-quarter player by any means, but give him enough opportunity and he can bob up and kick 3 or 4. And without Tom Hawkins down there being that focal point, he's going to be the man. Interesting that Ollie Henry comes back into the team, but is the sub. You would have thought he would have come straight back into the team because he did kick 4 against the Hawks last time. And with no James Sicily down there, he probably puts extra marking players down there. So he's going to be interesting to see what stage of the game he actually comes on. The other one is just trying to keep an eye on Tom Stewart and where he's heading at the moment. At the moment, it looks like he's getting into that centre square again to be another midfielder. So that worked out okay last week. He had 23 possessions and got a fair bit of the footy. I'm worried about his ability to get in the right positions as a midfielder, because we know the Hawthorn midfield, they're a powerful mob, and when they get up and running, they're hard to stop.
Tom Stewart is setting himself in the middle of the ground as we're all in readiness. Round 17 of the AFL, a September shaper, as Geelong and Hawthorn do battle from Kardinia Park. Here's Lauren Borden to get us underway on ABC Sport.
It's Lloyd Meek and Sam De Koning right in the middle for their respective sides. Meek, nice tap out to Warple. He taps it as well, and it's Stewart for Geelong, who can hand pass to Dangerfield. Will run Geelong through half forward, then send a kick inside 50 directly onto the chest of Jeremy Cameron. Quick clearance, quick entry inside 50, and Cameron has a shot at goal from 45 metres out, just in from the boundary line.
I like to call that the perfect start, Loz. That's as good as you get. Clearly, Stewart's involved, Dangerfield's involved, and get the ball in the hands of Cameron early doors for a touch up forward. That's fantastic from the Cats. They look dynamic out of that centre bound stoppage.
So he's looked good in the last couple of weeks, Jeremy Cameron, with 5 goals across the last 2 weeks and 2 last week. As he lines up to give Geelong the perfect start, he just hooks it to the near side. But just a minor score to start proceedings here. It's Geelong leading by that one behind after 45 seconds.
The Cats are heading to the new Joel Stelwood stand in this opening quarter. We're told it's a sellout, so round one we had just under 40,000 in the house. We're hoping for a few more than that. As Carl Lamont brings the Hawks back into play, misses Day, and it's gathered by Atkins. Reloads inside 50, Neal's in the back. From the side, Frost can't take them out. Rowan's hand pass towards Dempsey. It goes over the boundary line up against the right behind post. A throw in with Geelong deep in attack through the opening 90 seconds.
Dempsey as a winger pushes deep forward as often as he can, and last week we gave him best on ground. See if he can back it up again this week.
So umpire spins the ball back in. Again, it's Meek down there in the ruck against Blitzarves. He takes the footy and he's tackled. Dangerfield digs it out, hand passes it to Myers, who snaps it towards goals, won't make the distance. Coming over the top was Bowes. He couldn't mark. It was Neal rather. It'll come through the hands of Scrimshaw here for the Hawks, who hand passes it to Warple, who tries to send a clearing kick down for Hawthorn. It's Duncan, though, who can pick it up for Geelong. He'll send the Cats to half forward. And it's able to be marked by Cameron. Sitting with the footy at centre half forward, pushes either end of the footy and indicates that he might just go for goals from 55 metres out.
Certainly got the range, you would think.
So Cameron, he indicates he wants his teammates to come forward, but then he'll launch the ball all the way towards goals. He's definitely got the range, but he's just missed this time to the left-hand side. So 2 behinds for Geelong to start the game, both to the name of Jeremy Cameron. They're leading by those 2 behinds, a couple of minutes played.
This is what Hawthorn did against the West Coast Eagles last week with early inside 50s, but it's the Cats through Jeremy Cameron. They've had a couple of chances as Jack Scrimshaw brings the Hawks back into play. Kicks long around the Hickey stand wing. Meek was caught behind. He was held in the eyes of the umpire, and Hawthorn for a moment thought about taking the advantage. We'll come back to Lloyd Meek at left half back. Geelong 2 behinds to Hawthorn yet to score. A late change with Clark coming in for Nevitt. As Meek looks to go short, Newcomb down low, can't hang on to the mark. Stewart gathers for Geelong. Hand pass away to Dempsey at right half forward. They're on the break, and Cameron's free once more. In the right forward pocket, he might have a 3rd shot on goal in 3 minutes. Not quite. Jack Crisp though in front of goal. He opens up the angle, and Rowan lets it go through from behind. He was on the goal line. Gary Rowan in 2 minds, and in the end maybe just couldn't quite get hands to it. A 3rd behind for Jeremy Cameron, a 3rd behind for the Cats.
It's quite a weird start to a game, this one. The same bloke having 3 shots. So the Hawks can't get it past halfway.
So Blake Hardwick will do his best from the kick in to get it almost to the halfway point of the ground. Hickey's side of Cardinia Park. It spills around. Guthrie picks it up, and then he's taken down in a tackle by the returning Mitch Lewis. Back into the side for his first game since these 2 sides did play on Easter Monday.
Just forcing the issue, Berkey, I reckon, at the moment, the Hawks, when they get their hands on the footy and transition turnover, they're getting absolutely reamed.
So Atkins picked up the footy. He was dispossessed of it. And then it'll be another ball up, outer side of the ground. Umpire to toss it up at half forward for the Cats. It comes down through D'Ambrosio's hands. Picked up again by De Koning. Hand pass to Manor. He kicks inside 50. A mark taken here by Geelong by Neal. And he's taken in the same place where Cameron's had a couple of shots. He'll have to kick from about 48 metres out from goal to try and put Geelong's first goal on the board for this afternoon.
We talked about the clearance dominance that Hawthorn have had in recent weeks, and Geelong, that's been a bit of an Achilles heel for them, but so far today it's all Geelong. It's 3-0 from the clearances, and Hawthorn haven't looked like it in their hands on it.
So Shannon Neal kicks from the pain of the 50. Good looking kick towards goals, just won't make it. It's punched over the line by CJ Jaff. Another behind for Geelong. That's behind number 4. They're leading by that margin, 5 minutes played.
bit of a poor effort by the Cats to shepherd that one across there. They virtually almost let CJ jump up and just whack it through uncontested.
5 inside 50s to none in the opening 4 minutes as Carl Amon kicks as far as he can to half-back. It's Jack Henry, though, gets the hand pass to Collar Jasny into the pocket. Neil can't take the mark and off hands. It goes out of play with Jeremy Cameron in the right forward pocket. Geelong 4 behind, so Hawthorn yet to score. Matt Clinch and Lauren Borden calling the action. Daniel Harford and Nathan Burke, your experts on ABC Sport. Spinning back into play. Meek takes front position against Neil, who wins down the tap. Scrimshaw defensively for the Hawks. Clearing kick, only as far as Tom Stewart. Lunging forward, marks just inside 50, out to the right.
Well, thank goodness for the Hawks that all of the shots that the Cats are having are from 45 metres plus, because if they're having a little bit closer, this score would be very ugly for them.
Just 4 goals in his career. Can he get it from here, Half?
No, he can't.
Tom Stewart in his new role as a midfielder veers out to the right, sets sail from home. It's offline to the right, and a big fly from Dempsey and Neil. In the end, they were over the behind line. And it's the 5th behind for Geelong in the opening 6 minutes to Hawthorn. Yet to score, yet to go past halfway.
Let's do something different here, Hawks. Just don't bang it to the far wing, and looks like that's what they're going to do again.
Jack Scrimshaw takes a bounce, nearly loses the footy, and then does exactly what you just said. Berkey kicks it out wide to the outer side of the ground where Will Day collects, hand passes it to Moore, then gets the footy back, and then he's tackled over the boundary line for a boundary throw-in.
Yeah, there's no variation at all from Hawthorn. They almost seem a little bit shell-shocked at the moment. It's very... They pressed the issue early, and now they're just kicking long to packs and not having any faith in their ball movement whatsoever. So the Cats are doing a great job defensively to really stifle their flow.
So ball tossed in. Meek can tap it down to Newcomb. Hand passes over the top of his head. Warple gets it. He's tackled down to the Cardinia Park turf, and the umpire will come in and throw the ball up. Still outer side of the ground on the Hickey wing. It's Geelong leading by 5 points.
So Geelong playing with the 4 forwards at the moment, and Sam de Koning dropping back, so Blitzhouse does the ruck work. Tackle laid on Bose. Did he have prior opportunity? The umpire circles and will ball it up in the middle of Cardinia Park. John Newcomb slowly gets to his feet. Geelong 5 behinds to Hawthorn yet to score, yet to go inside 50 as it's gathered by Manor for the Cats. Hand pass too sharp for Clark, the late inclusion. Newcomb, hand pass too sharp for Moore, another chance for Geelong. Clark trying to knock it forward, Cameron can't gather. Socket by Stengel, only as far as Scrimshaw. The Hawks get out of defence, a hand pass to D'Ambrosio. He kicks out to Warple, who marks it left half back under the Hickey stand.
Had Mitch Lewis short, but then decided to go further along towards Chol, who takes a mark on his chest, low down, just above his knees in the end. He's still got the footy though, a couple of kicks from home. Hawthorn looking to go inside 50 for the first time this afternoon. He chips backwards towards Hardwick, who then chips across to D'Ambrosio. Just 15, and then the umpire will tell him to play on. So he chips out wide to Hardwick again. So no easy choice for Hardwick about where to go inside 50. So he sits with the footy, he chips back to D'Ambrosio in the very corner of the centre square. Half forward for Hawthorn, and it's just a 15-metre pass straight forward to McDonald. So McDonald now holding the footy for Hawthorn, centre half forward. It's been about 8 chip kicks to get to this point, but still not an inside 50 for Hawthorn. McDonald will hoist the ball up high and long inside 50 for Hawthorn. No mark can be taken. Stewart's there to clean it up. Hand pass it to Tui, and Tui will clear the kick out of Geelong's defence.
A high spiralling ball. Neil's outnumbered in the end. He can't get around Scrimshaw. The mark is taken by Jarman MP. Kicks to Carl Amon. Between the centre circles and half forward. He kicks laterally out to John Newcomb. He's at right half forward for the Hawks. Out wide for Moore, who's on a long lead, but still 70 out from home. So the Cats with 5 behinds. This would be a big blow if Hawthorn can score at the other end. Having not yet been inside 50 as Dylan Moore looks to the teeth of goal, pokes it in the direction of the lead, charging out Mitch Lewis, can't take the mark, Blitzhouse front and centre, Lewis lays a good tackle, hand pass to Jack Henry, to Clark, a clearing kick, close one direction, Carl Am on the other, slides in, takes a very impressive mark at right half forward. In fact, it's Mitchell, Seamus Mitchell.
So Seamus Mitchell, a little later of an in from Jack Ginnivan after he hit his leg. Kicks inside 50. Watson's there. He has the footy. He wants the free kick. Doesn't get it. Moore will just have a ping at the sticks. It'll bounce a couple of times and go through.
The Geelong players are claiming touched quite confidently.
So he was in a pack when he kicked it, just hacked it towards goals. The umpires signalled a goal. Zach Tui's doing the TV umpire motion. He wants them to go upstairs.
Well, they'll do that anyway as a matter of course, but pretty confident as soon as he kicked the ball there more that there was a touch. I'm not putting in the record just yet, this one.
I'm not sure whether Moore himself signalled touched.
What would he do there?
He sort of was walking away, sort of tapping his hand. But he's hoping that he'll get away with it. Gunston could be in the way here of the video from the angle we're watching.
Looks like it might have come off Max Holmes' fingertips.
Yeah, I reckon it's his right thumb.
So Holmes has both hands outstretched.
Oh, the umpire's called the screen.
And the goal won't stand. So as everyone was getting ready in the centre of Kardinia Park, the park has determined it was touched. So we're still searching for our first goal of the match. At the 11-minute mark of the opening term, the Hawks are on the board with a behind through Dylan Moore.
The Hawks have done well because the chipping the ball around, it's not great football to watch, but because they were under the pump really early, they just needed to take some sting out of the game, and they've managed to do that.
Tui ran a long way, kicks up to the wing. Cameron couldn't take the mark. Weddle had it knocked away at the last moment, and the Cats are away. Dempsey's hand pass to Manor. Around the Hickey stand wing, back to Cameron. Brought down by Newcombe. Great tackle. Not rewarded. Players dive on top. Jaff tries to break away. Dangerfield around the hips. Good tackle. Umpire will pull it up just inside the boundary at right half forward for Geelong. The Cats 5 behinds, 3 of which have come through Jeremy Cameron. Hawthorn 1 behind.
So tossed in finally, spills out to Dempsey, hand passes backwards to Manor, shoves the kick inside 50. It'll go past Neil. Scrimshaw's there. He just taps it away to Hardwick, who can hand pass to Newcombe. Hand passes back towards Scrimshaw, who this time puts it on the boot. It goes out wide. It goes out of bounds on the full.
Don't understand this. Opposition teams coming down here, kicking out the full all the time. I can't work it out. The boundary line's the boundary line, wherever it is.
Well, they had the lines marked up, Hawthorn, this week too, to get used to it.
It doesn't make any sense. Always goes out of bounds on the full.
And Dempsey goes inside 50. It'll be a mark taken for Geelong. Blitzar's holding it in the pack. And Geelong will have a shot at goals to try and get their first on the board desperately in the first quarter.
It's interesting, Berkey, you talked before about Dempsey playing that wing, pushing really hard forward. Blitzar's playing the broadcast wing here at the moment. And again, another wing of the Cats pushing forward and having an impact inside forward 50. They really get bang for their buck out of those rolls, especially down here, I reckon.
Again, he's kicking from the right pocket. This time a little closer at 35 metres from goal. He goes towards the goals. It's offline again. It will be a mark taken, though, by Neil. So taking the mark on the goal line. It'll be a shot. It'll be snapping from almost outside the boundary line, just a couple of metres around from the left behind post.
I guess we'll see a shot from this side, Loz. See what happens.
So snaps around to finally put the first goal on the board for today. It's taken 6 straight behinds, 5 of those for Geelong. But the Cats on the board with a major, 1-5-11 leading Hawthorn, the 1 behind. 13 minutes played in the first term, but we do finally have the first goal on the board.
We do, and I'm sure Sam Mitchell will be pretty disappointed with 2 aspects there. One, Blitzar, really, it was an uncontested mark inside forward 50. He just sort of floated across without any contact from a Hawthorn player. His kick wasn't great, landed near the behind post, but Neil was allowed again to run and jump unhindered just over the top of 2 Hawthorn players and take a mark. It's certainly not tough defending. You come down here against Geelong, you've really got to have a defensive mindset because you know they're up and about, and that was 2 pretty soft marks that ended up in their first goal.
21-year-old Shannon Neal, 203 centimetres with a big mark to kick the opening goal of the match. Dangerfield brought down off the play and will get a free kick. Tom Atkins, a half a second, tried to take the advantage, but the ball will come back to Danger. The Geelong captain wasn't on his line as he tried to play on. So free kick against Warple. Hang on, it might not be Danger's kick. It might go to Jack Bowes, hence the delay. So he's got to come back to take the kick. Now a chance to go forward, and no one's on the mark, would you believe it, as he drives another kick inside 50. Gary Rowan works his way to the front, spoiled down by Hardwick. Spills out in front of Nash and Clark. Clark tries to gather the spiralling ball. Spills out to Bowes, knocks it to Dangerfield. Kicks inside 50. Dempsey in front, can't hang on. As D'Ambrosio flew in front, brought down with Seamus Mitchell. It spills to Hardwick, just 15 metres out from the Cats' goal to Joel Selwood end. It's locked in with Geelong leading by 10 points.
Ball quickly tossed up. Meek taps it down. Hawthorn trying to clear it from defensive 50 here. It's McKenzie on his hands and knees. There's a whole scrum diving on top of the footy, and they'll lock it in inside attacking 50 for Geelong, kicking toward the Selwood stand of Kardinia Park in the first quarter. So another throw up. Meek palms it down. Warple just clearing kick. Hacks it out of defensive 50. It'll be coming straight back in by Duncan, who hand passes to Dempsey. Dempsey spins around. Hand passes back to Duncan, who hand passes back to Dempsey. He'll kick it further into the forward pocket, but it'll be an intercept mark taken by Lloyd Meek. Getting back there to hold on to the mark for Hawthorn, and he'll just chip towards Warple. Dangerous kick. He'll get the free anyway, and he'll be able to clear defensive 50 and kick to the broadcast side.
Where the mark is taken by Jack Gunston at right half back.
It's the first time they've been on this side of the ground in 15 minutes.
One of two, of course, from their 2015 premiership, alongside his good mate Luke Bruce as he comes inboard to Carl Jarman Impey. His kick around the wing is out of play as McKenzie for a moment tried to keep it in play. And a boundary thrown in front of the two benches. Geelong 1-5-11 to Hawthorn 1 behind. Matt Clinch and Lauren Borden calling the action. Nathan Burke and Daniel Harford, your experts on ABC Sport. Meek sits himself in front of Blitzavs. Initiates body contact, but Blitzavs wins down the tap to the front, looking for Dangerfield. Keeps it alive with a hand pass to Myers. Now to Blitzavs. The Cats around the wing with a hand pass to Bose. He tries to draw Hardwick. Looks inboard, looks boundary side. Gives it to Dangerfield, boundary side. Drives it towards the goal mouth. Dempsey at the back, flying over the top. Great mark, Ambrosio. The former Bomber marks in the defensive goal square.
Having a good season, his first year in Hawks colours as he kicks outside of 50 towards McKenzie. Will take the mark. Hand pass it across to Hardwick, who's right in front of the Geelong bench, squeezes the kick forward to Amon, who's tackled to the ground by De Koning. The umpire will come in and throw the ball up just inside from the boundary line.
So there is some concern around the contest at the Hawks at the moment. They've got an extra player there. Geelong dropped one back. They keep theirs at the contest, and Geelong is still able to chain out by hand from the stoppage. So that's a concern for the coaching staff, I reckon, of the Hawks at the minute.
So ball tossed up and then just tapped over the boundary line, this time for a throw-in. So it's Geelong leading by 10 points with the ball to be thrown in just to the right of Hawthorn's bench. It'll be tossing on top of the AFL logo as Meek, two hands, taps it to Newcomb, and then he's tackled. And then the umpire will come in and throw the ball up again. So hard to clear between wing and half forward for Hawthorn. As the tap comes from Meek, it goes straight into the hands, though, of Atkins. He quickly hand passes the ball. McDonald picks it up, gets its way to Meek, and it'll be a kick towards half forward for Hawthorn. Won't go inside 50. It's bobbling around there. McDonald goes on after it. Just hurries a kick forward to Newcomb, who's got the footy, tackled by two in Atkins. And Lawson Humphrey in his second game. The umpire will come in and throw the ball up right on the pain of 50 at Hawthorn's attacking end. They're trailing by 10 points.
Tossed up in the air. Meek wins down the tap against Sam De Koning. Newcomb today at right half forward. Hand pass to Nash. The Irishman with a centering ball. Mitch Lewis caught behind. Tui in front brought it down. Will Day breaks the tackle. Swings onto his left. Great smother. Jack Henry. It spills out down low as Luke Bruce gets the hand pass to Day. Into the left forward pocket. D'Ambrosio one way then the other. Screws it back to the teeth of goal. Choles in the pack. Brings it down. Geelong have the numbers. Zach Guthrie's hand pass to Tui. And now to Henry. A long clearing kick that finds close at right half back for Geelong.
Hawthorn with just the one behind on the board so far in the first quarter as close goes long. Down the Hickey wing where a pack will form. Rowan going up over the top of them takes the mark. His milestone match gives the fans at Kardinia Park something to cheer about in this first quarter. And then he'll switch the kick all the way back into defensive 50 where Jack Henry will mark uncontested. He's got Guthrie short, as is Tui. He just chips the ball to Tui, standing just inside the defensive 50 line. So now it's Geelong's turn to go slowly through Kardinia Park. And he'll just chip it out back to Jack Henry, who's moved slightly up to left half back. And he'll chip it forward to Clark. He's delayed in today after Nevitt was out with illness. He goes back to Jack Henry. So Geelong defenders chipping it between themselves as Henry goes back to Clark. Right on the edge of the centre square, he chips towards Holmes, who'll mark. And this time, Holmes wants to play on quickly. You can see his teammates are running ahead of him. Kicks to a pack. Dangerfield was there, two hands onto it, couldn't mark. Rowan, hand pass to Stengel. Hand passes it to Kolodjasnik, who can handball it across to Dempsey. He'll hand pass it to Close. He'll hand pass it again to running to Koning, who slams it through from the goal square. A team effort to get that ball into the goal square. And the finish came from De Koning. It's Geelong with their second for the afternoon at 2-5-17, leading Hawthorn just one behind. Saturday Arvo footy on ABC Sport. Your experts Daniel Harford and Nathan Burke.
A great build-up from the Cats there from half back. Spoke about the player having an inside defensive 50 and just chipping the ball owning the ball, four or five uncontested marks. The Hawks weren't able to close that space. And once they got forward to centre with a guy like Holmes, who's got great leg speed, that 60, 70 metre player, got the ball in deep, and then it was just a training drill. Berkey, it was just the +1 training drill inside your forward 50, find the free player, and the Hawks weren't able to shut that space down. And in the end, a walk-in for Sam De Koning. Just a brilliantly mature passage of play.
Just the third goal of his career for Sam De Koning. He's second of the season in his new role back in the ruck here as he's up against Marbiol Joel. Spills down to McKenzie of the Hawks. Kicks up towards half forward. Day was worked out of it by the experience of Mitch Duncan. The Geelong veteran through the middle to Bowes. Run down almost by Joel. Just got boots a ball. Not 15 to Atkins. Now he has a problem as Warple and Day lay the tackle. And the umpire will ball it up. So the Cats had the first 5 scores of the match. They're all behinds. Now the last 2, which have been goals. De Koning wins down the tap for Geelong. Atkins trying to get a clean disposal away. Nash could have been legged, no whistle. As Moore kicks end over end out to space at right half forward. The foot race is on. Mitch Lewis gets there first. Knocks it back to Moore. Into the right forward pocket looking for Gunston. Under pressure from Kolajasny. Tom Stewart gets back to offer support. He tries to knock it out. Wrestles for the footy. Holmes comes in to offer support between he and Dylan Moore, and the umpire will ball it up. Right forward pocket for the Hawks. 40 metres out from goal. From the players' stand in, it's the Cats by 16 points.
Umpire throws the ball in, clearing kick just to the top of the 50 for Hawthorn. It'll come out by Myers, who puts it on his boot into the centre of Kardinia Park in the Rowan direction. He couldn't mark. Neil chasing after it. In comes Cameron, who comes in front of everyone, takes a bounce, then hand passes it across to Stengel. He'll eventually pick it up. He sends a hand pass across to none other than Gary Rowan. Slams it through, another one in the goal square for the Cats. And it's Gary Rowan in his milestone, able to put one through. Started in country Victoria, came from Cobden, moved up to Sydney, and then came back to Geelong, where he finally got the premiership he was after, and he puts a goal through today. It's now Geelong 3-5-23, leading Hawthorn, still no goal, just that one behind. 22 minutes gone in the first quarter.
Well, there's a training drill called a 3-man weave half, and where 3 players charge at 1 player, and that's what it was exactly like here at Geelong. They had 3 players running. Poor old Frosty was like a deer in the headlights. He just could stand there, watch them handball to the left, to the right, and no one's running down Gary Rowan in an open goal square. So 2 training drills there by the Cats.
Smells like the old gladiators as Frost is trying to hold off the charging Cats, and here they go once more. Stewart's hand pass to Atkins to Rowan on the lead. He marks on his chest, surging out of the left forward pocket in front of Sam Frost, and the Hawks are looking a little lost at the moment as Geelong are having their way.
The handballs are 30-11 in favour of the Cats. They're just running in numbers. They're helping each other, supporting each other, whereas all of the Hawthorn efforts are individual efforts. You've got to throw the ball on the boot because they just don't have the numbers around the contest.
The most targeted player for the Cats inside 50 last week against the Bombers for his second. Gary Rowan fires on goal and he puts it through in true celebration as he turns to the Geelong faithful. He's overcome some adversity, but he is enjoying a 200th where he is making a mark. Geelong by 28 points, 4 goals to none in the opening quarter through 23 minutes, and a lot they're doing out of the centre square. 4-5-29 to Hawthorn, 1 behind. Daniel Harford and Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport.
They're 3-0 out of the centre square for the Cats this quarter. 1 goal, 1 out of that result. That was the first goal, obviously, but they are putting on an absolute show in the middle of the ground. Sam De Koning's doing a great job. Lloyd Meek has had a really positive year for the Hawks, been one of their real prime movers in there, but he's being beaten in the ruck or nullified in the ruck by Sam De Koning, and it's the guys at ground level. Atkins, Stewart, was Dangerfield before. Bowes goes in there now, but they're the ones finding the space. They're setting up really well, coming out the front of the stoppage.
So it's back in the middle, and De Koning rises over the top of the Meek to get the tap out, and then he hacks the kick forward to half forward towards Myers. He can pick it up. He's dispossessed of the footy. Meek goes back, gets it for Hawthorn. Hand passes it away to Nash. It comes across to Jack, who takes a bounce, and then he'll hand pass it across to Impey, who's met in a tackle straight away by Duncan. He has to get rid of the footy quickly. De Koning goes in after it for Geelong. Players surround the footy in the centre of the ground, and the umpire will come to throw the ball up.
Just great work from Duncan there to press up onto the free player aim, and the ball came out from Jath. It was a loopy handball. He just closed that space and got the stoppage for the Cats.
Daniel Harford with you on ABC Sport. Meek tries to take it out of the ruck, but his hand passes straight to Duncan. Gets it to Bledsoe as Atkins is lined up. Will Day comes charging in and lays a bone-shaking tackle. trying to wake the Hawks up. Their young leader trying to impose himself. Thrown up below us on the commentary wing. Sam de Koning tries to knock it down against Meek. It spills down the way of Will Day. He's trying to spark a resistance. Kicks up to half forward. Stewart can't take the mark. Jack Henry kicks inboard to Duncan. Geelong are just so well organised as he kicks out to the wing. Breaking is Max Holmes. He marks on the Hickey stand side. Now where does he go? Zach Guthrie's pushed forward. He kicks in front of Stengel on the leader, bounces in front of he and Hardwick. Ricochets out towards Kolajasny. Can't take it cleanly. Day knocks it to Hardwick. Hand pass to McDonald, to Moore through the middle of the ground. And now Nash to the Hawks. Has to kick laterally to Lloyd Meek.
Meek's got the footy and he can hand pass it across to Jath, who was running, then stops to kick inboard towards Amon. He'll mark it just behind the halfway mark of the Cardinia Park.
Just no run movement from the Hawks. They all want the short pass, no handball receives.
And Nash kicks to Newcombe, who has to hand pass it towards Amon. It's Geelong players all around the footy and they'll be able to win it back through Holmes, who can go with a long kick right to half forward to Stengel, front position. Two hands, just pulls it down to the turf. Jath goes in after it for Hawthorn. Then he tackles Dangerfield, who can still get a hand pass away. Duncan goes in after it for Geelong, and then all the players will be stopped in the centre of the ground. It'll be Manna who's doing the tackling and pulled up with a free kick going the way of Will Day for Hawthorn. So Manna penalised there for his tackle. And it'll be Will Day with the footy for Hawthorn, who again just decides he's going to kick defensively and kick to the outer side of the ground towards Seamus Mitchell.
Has a little bit of space as he takes a bounce and kicks out around the wing. Missed Ambrosio. Pinched by Ryan Myers. Works it to Dangerfield at right half forward. Looks up. One-on-one's inside 50. Stengel the target. Getting back Scrimshaw. Jarman MP did well. Got a fist onto it. Day in two minds. Gathers in front of Neal. Now past to Warple and now to Nash. Still at centre half back. Stengel's down and slow to rise as Day gives it back to Carl Amon. Works it back out to D'Ambrosio at left half back. Under the Hickey stand with a light starting to take toll. Hand passes to Hardwick. Links up with Seamus Mitchell once more. Kicks up towards half forward over the head of Mitch Lewis. And an easy mark in the end for Zach Guthrie. Taking the intercepting mark across right half back. Geelong by 28 points. 27 minutes gone. Opening quarter on ABC Sport.
So it's a bit of a different look there, Berkey. It's a bit of run and handball from the Hawks, which we haven't seen to that point.
Guthrie kicks to a pack. D'Ambrosio able to bring it down. Comes to Warple, who hand passes it to Frost. Hand passes back to D'Ambrosio, and he'll hand pass it to Bruce, who kicks. His kick's smothered by Stewart, and it just bounces over the boundary line for a throw-in in front of the big scoreboard on the outer side of the ground at Cardinia Park. So it's Geelong with the last 4 goals of the match. The only 4 goals of the match. Hawthorn just one behind in the opening term. The umpire throws the ball in. Meek slams it down, comes to de Koning. He hand passes it away to Dangerfield, can't collect it cleanly. Day picks it up, steps over him and puts Hawthorn inside 50. It'll be Watson here who's got the footy for Hawthorn. He spins around and kicks and it'll be a mark taken. It won't be, it'll be touched. And Bruce won't get the mark, or Gunston rather. So no mark touched, and it'll be a ball up 25 metres out from Hawthorn's goal, looking for their first goal in the first quarter.
Thrown in the air, Meek tries to flick it to the back, looking for more. Zach Guthrie ran into a dead end as Warple lays the tackle. The umpire will pull it up. 30 metres out from the Hawks goal. The players stand in, a sellout at Cardinia Park for Saturday afternoon footy on ABC Sport. Meek tries to take it to the ruck. De Koning lays the tackle, puts both arms around him. Hand pass to Gunston, got it to Mitch Lewis, kicks towards goal, and it's touched by Holmes. A whistle, it might come back for a hold, and Max Holmes will take it on the last line so the Hawks don't get them behind. Inside 50 so far, 17-8 the way of the Cats, who lead by 28 points.
Geelong's defence will move it outside of 50 towards Holmes. Doesn't take the mark, dives on top, and it's Blitzards on the bottom of the pack. Will need to be helped up from the pack. Geelong still potentially with time to get another late goal in the opening term. Tossed up, Meek taps it out towards Warple. He's got Newcombe. He dodges around all his opponents and goes for goal himself.
Nice.
And what a decision to make. He knew he had to do it himself, and James Warple might just spark Hawthorn late in the first quarter. It's the Hawks' first goal coming late in the first term. The 29-minute mark. It's Hawthorn 1-1-7 trailing Geelong 4-5-29.
Well, hopefully a bit of class there from Warple, who drew the Geelong player, feigned the handball around about 55 metres out, but took it himself, ran to 45 and put it straight through the middle. So there's goals and there's goals. That was a bit of class goal and something that gets your teammates excited. So hopefully before the end of this quarter they can sort of capture a little bit of that motivation and come home with a goal or two. But at the moment it's just all been the Cats, and a badly needed goal there by the Hawks.
Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport. Just his third goal of the season, but didn't the Hawks need that just ahead of quarter time? Back in the middle. Bounce favours Meek and De Koning, and Meek who wins down the tap. Non-officiating umpire blew his whistle as Stewart's looking to break away. It's coming back in a Hawthorn free kick. Will Dale take it? It was dragged down by Patrick Dangerfield. Sends Hawthorn inside 50. Watson the target, held initially, but Zach Guthrie slides in and takes the mark. Turns and comes inboard to Mitch Duncan. He looks out to the Hickey stand wing with De Koning. Hasn't moved after the ruck battle. He takes the mark. Charging past him. Here's Holmes. He chips it out in front of him at right half forward, but the siren sounds for quarter time. An emphatic start by the Cats, putting the opening 4 goals of the match before Hawthorn kicked a goal late. And Geelong 4-5-29 to Hawthorn 1-1-7. It's the Cats by 22 points at quarter time. Geelong kicked the opening 5 behinds of the match, and at that stage Hawthorn had their work cut out in front of them, but then the Cats are able to make them count on the scoreboard. They took control of the contest. 2 goals to Gary Rowan, individuals to Sam De Koning and to Shannon Neal, while for the Hawks James Worpel is their goal scorer. Earlier today it was Port Adelaide back on the winners list, another win on the trot, so winning with 5 goals to 2 in the opening quarter. 15-12, 102 to the Western Bulldogs, 8-6-54. Port Adelaide to 4th for the night, their 10th win of the season. And the Kangas are off the bottom of the AFL ladder, their 2nd win of the season, prevailing by 4 points over the Gold Coast Suns, 13-9-87 to the Suns 12-11-83, in which Nick Larkey was able to boot 3 goals, but the Suns booting 3 goals 5 in the final term. Saturday afternoon footy on ABC Sport.
Wimbledon 2024 on ABC Sport. Hear it live every night on the ABC Listen app. Just search for the tennis button.
Generosity of spirit.
Harmony and activism.
Supporting vulnerable children. What does it take for someone to become Australian of the Year?
Educating with art.
Caring for country.
Tackling substance misuse.
Mental health advocacy.
Keeping language alive and strong.
These are just some of the ways that we became Australians of the Year. Anyone can nominate an Aussie who inspires them.
It's so easy.
So come on, nominate now.
Go to australianoftheyear.org.au.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Again, he's kicking from the right pocket, this time a little closer at 35 metres from goal. Goes towards the goals, it's offline again. It will be a mark taken though by Neal. So snaps around to finally put the first goal on the board for today. It's taken 6 straight behinds, 5 of those for Geelong. But the Cats on the board. Rowan, hand pass to Stengel. Hand passes it to Kolodjasnik, who can handball it across to Dempsey. He'll hand pass it to Close. He'll hand pass it again to running to Koning, who slams it through from the goal square. Neal chasing after it. In comes Cameron, who comes in front of everyone, takes a bounce, then hand passes it across to Stengel. He'll eventually pick it up. He sends a hand pass across to none other than Gary Rowan. Slams it through, another one in the goal square for the Cats.
The most targeted player for the Cats inside 50 last week against the Bombers for his 2nd. Gary Rowan fires on goal and he puts it through in true celebration as he turns to the Geelong faithful. Geelong by 28 points.
Tossed up Meek, cuts it out towards Worpel. He's got Newcomb. He dodges around all his opponents and goes for goal himself.
Nice.
And what a decision to make. He knew he had to do it himself, and James Worpel might just spark Hawthorn late in the first quarter. It's the Hawks' first goal.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
The sounds of a dominant opening quarter from the Cats down in Geelong. It's Geelong who lead by 22 points, 4-5-28 to Hawthorn 1-1-7. Matt Clich and Lauren Borden call the action. The thoughts of Nathan Burke and Daniel Harford, your experts.
Well, the first half of that quarter was all the Cats, and kicking almost 5 behinds before they got their first goal on the board, ended up with 4 goals, 5, and that sort of flattered the Hawks to a degree because they were just so dominant. The Hawks had no answer at all. They just kept bombing the ball out of their back line to the far wing here and over near the Hickey stand at Cardinia Park. Just kept barrelling straight back in again. They were dominating the clearances around the ground. When the ball hit the ground, it seemed like they had extra 2 or 3 players because they were able to handball their way out and get the ball inside 50. But to the Hawks' credit, they managed to sort of wrestle back a lot of the stats. The inside 50s were still 17-10 in favour of the Cats, but the clearances they got back on top 12-9. Got some uncontested marks. Got the handball receives back on track, ran about 31 each, which was good play. So I think now Sam Mitchell, he doesn't need to berate the Hawks for a bad start. He needs to just get them to take a big deep breath. Rightio, boys, that quarter's gone. We're here, we're playing, we're in this game now. We played really poorly, but 22 points, we can overcome that in the next 3 quarters. But the way we need to do it is start winning the ball at the source. Without Sicily down there in the back line, if we can win the stoppages and in a clean fashion get the ball going our way, well then we don't need to have such a really strong defence that they've relied on in the past. So I think Sam Mitchell settled the boys down and away we go now. The game's on.
I was watching him at quarter time, Berkey, just on that, just to see what he would do, and he had a very measured conversation with the forwards when he first came across from the coach's box, and then a little bit of a chat to the stoppage and centre bounce crew as well before he let the line coaches do his thing. So I think it's exactly what he's done there. Good advice for him, and it's exactly what he's done. But I'm super impressed with the Cats in that first half of the quarter, just say, I mean, their ability to get the ball back and keep it in their forward half. And 12 minutes into the game, Hawthorn hadn't been past halfway, which is quite phenomenal in modern day footy. So their ability to get the ball back in their forward half and keep having shots at goal, obviously they would have loved a few more goals to go through early doors, but they really did dominate the game. But I'm 100% with you on what the Hawks were able to do in that last 7 or 8 minutes, just to get the game back into that even, neutral arm wrestle position, and they can start to ascend from here because it was their clearance work, and it was Will Day really that got them back into the game. He called it beautifully through the game, through the quarter, Clinchy. He was the one that was trying to spark the whole team, and he did a great job to get things back on an even keel for the Hawks, and now set up a very interesting second quarter.
Marks inside 50, 7-0 the way of Geelong as we get the second quarter underway. Meek wins down the tap against De Koning as Nash races after it for the Hawks. Bumped off it by Tom Stewart. Dangerfield over the top. Extracts the footy. Brought down by McKenzie and Day. Blitzhouse picks it up off the turf. Kicks a high ball inside 50. Cameron trying to get a run at it. Neil underneath. It spills to the back where Weddle gathers for the Hawks. Retreats with a hand pass back to Scrimshaw. And now Jarman Impey switches to McDonald. He takes the mark in the left back pocket. So it felt like half you were making reference. McDonald was the extra at the stoppage as he switches to the right back pocket and finds Scrimshaw. And Zach Toohey was the loose for Geelong. And then Geelong thought, well, why don't we get Tom Stewart to play that role? Which is what they did last week. He'd play the stoppage and then roll back as that loose defender, which we've become accustomed to seeing him dominate for so many years. Scrimshaw up to Meek, can't take the mark. Holmes' hand pass to De Koning, reloads inside 50. Scrimshaw and Weddle spoiled each other, the Hawks defenders, as Hardwick gets a hand pass to Jarman Impey at right half back. Hand pass to Day, hemmed in against the boundary line by Dangerfield. Drives a long kick up the wing. Hickey stand side. Gunston tried to get De Koning out of the way, and then Toohey lost it. Watson pinches it. He gets to right half forward, and a beautiful pass. He finds Mitch Lewis directly in front, 25 metres out from goal. Something from nothing from Nick Watson to spark it inside 50.
Well, he's used his height to advantage them because the Geelong defender was just sort of looking straight down the ground, and the little fella just nipped under his eyesight and stole that hand pass mid-flight, and a lovely kick to Mitch Lewis, who probably should have had a couple of kicks to him in that first quarter, but they missed him. Thank goodness that one hit him.
His second disposal of the match coming up, back for his first game since round 3. The Hawthorn spearhead comes in and gives them something to build on. Mitch Lewis is on the board. His 4th goal of the season. It comes just 2 minutes into the second quarter, and it's now a couple on the trot either side of quarter time. Geelong by 16 points, 4-5-29 to Hawthorn, 2-1-13.
It's just a bit of a mistake between Toohey and Stewart, the two players we spoke of just before that passage. Fish in that loose player handover role, and I just reckon they might have been a bit confused as to who was playing which role. Toohey had the ball, trying to feed the ball back to Stewart, who was behind him waiting for the receive, but Watson read it beautifully and just knew exactly what was going to happen and picked it off halfway through handball. And from there, centre forward, when you get those turnovers and there's no numbers ahead of the ball, you are no chance to defend. So we'll keep an eye on that Stewart thing, because I reckon it might have just confused Zach Tui in his positioning in that passage of play.
Hawthorn with the last goal of the first quarter and the first goal of the second. As the ball's tossed back up in the middle. Nash went after it, couldn't pick it up. It'll be De Koning here for Geelong, who'll be able to kick the Cats inside 50. Mark taken by Neil. The leading Neil, both hands ahead of him, and he'll mark and have a set shot at goal from about 40 metres out.
Connor Nash has got to do better there. The ball was rolling at his knees, but you've either got to pick it up or at least cause a stoppage. You can't let the opposition get the ball just forward half of the centre square, because it just puts your defenders under so much pressure if you can't pick it up below your knees.
So Neil now getting his opportunities with Tom Hawkins out injured. He's played the last couple of games, comes in on his approach and kicks from 50 towards goals. Will it make the distance? It'll sneak through.
We'll go upstairs, I reckon, Loz.
So, two decisions, both this side, the players stand.
I think Big Lloyd touched it, but was it over the line or not?
So it'll be official score review.
Yeah, that'll be touched, I reckon. What we can see on the screen.
So Lloyd Meek sticks up his right hand. Looks like it just clips one of the small fingers on his hand. Just. So it'll be a behind. All the players are already set up for that result.
Shepherding on the goal line is probably one of those things that coaches never ever mention, because you'd expect players at this level to do it, but we saw the Saints last week were terrible at it, and we've seen two today already where players have just forgotten.
Sort of the one section of the ground where you can get away with almost anything, can't you? As Carl Amon kicks a long kick out of defence for the Hawks in kicking duties. It's Tui who gathers on the wing, reloads inside 50. Cameron almost hung onto the mark, spills out Dempsey's way, hand pass to De Koning off the outside of the boot, sublime from the big man. Sam De Koning making the footy talk. 2 goals for him. And looking every bit a natural midfield ruck as he roars, as the Geelong fans roar back at him. Geelong answers straight back to restore a 23-point advantage. 5-6-36 to Hawthorn, 2-1-13. 5 minutes gone, second quarter on ABC Sport.
They've been all at sea a few times as the balls come in high into their defensive 50 of the Hawks, and the Cats have been able to get the ground balls in most of those situations and then feed the ball back corridor, which is obviously the place you want to try and get inside your forward 50, but Hawks just lack some real awareness of what's going on with the ball at the deck inside their D50 at the moment. But hats off to Big Sammy. That was an outstanding finish. Dexterity at its best for a big man.
The old ruckman back in your day, Half and Berkey, they couldn't do that.
Big Paul Salmon will be listening. There's no chance he was going to do that.
No, not on the run anyway.
Would have taken him 44 seconds to get it from hand to foot.
So here they are, the rucks in the middle. It's Meek who pulls it out this time, and he hand passes it into the back of Moore. And then Atkins on hands and knees picks it up, hand passes it to Stewart, who flicks it straight to Dangerfield. He'll put the Cats back inside 50, kicking to a pack. Rowan can't take the mark, spills to Cameron out the back, snaps for goals, and he's got another one for Geelong. It's Cameron's first of the evening after kicking the first 3 behinds of the game. He's got one now. And Geelong continue to extend the lead. It's out to a game-high 29 points after 6 minutes. It's in the second quarter. It's Geelong 6-6-42, Hawthorn 2-1-13.
Well, some big fellas can kick bananas on the run, and other big fellas just need to keep it really simple. I think Lloyd is one of the ones that need to keep it really, really simple. He got his hands on the bounce at the centre clearance, and just a handball straight into the back of his teammate who was already under the pressure from the Geelong player. Dangerfield sees that and says, we're most likely going to win that, and starts bolting forward. Ball finds him, Jeremy Cameron front and centre perfectly for a goal. So Big Lloyd, no limitations, get the ball on your foot, get the ball going your way.
Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport. All of a sudden it's 22-11, the inside 50's Geelong's way. As a big tackle laid by Clark brought down Day. Still a chance for the Hawks as the kick comes to right half forward from McDonald. An awkward bouncing ball in which Hardwick can't break away. Stengel and Atkins lock him up at right half forward for Geelong.
The other thing with that Burke at centre bounce, they're just so dangerous when they get their hands on it. The Cats have had too many scoring opportunities in this game so far. The Hawks have got to find a way that if they don't win it, and I know that Meek got his hands on that one, that they just don't get the ball out into space from that situation. Get a secondary stoppage because the Cats are killing them on the way through.
Yeah, I can't remember a secondary stoppage in the middle.
Bose's kick was smothered and went out of play from the Blitzavs tap in. Throw in 50 metres out from Geelong's goal. Meek can't clear it. Warple tries to bust away through past Atkins. Hand pass chopped off by Manor. Knocks it down to Wilday. It's locked up by Close and Blitzavs, and the umpire will throw it up on the paint of 50 for the Cats at the players stand in. Geelong leading by 29 points. Here's Lauren Borden.
Sold out Cardinia Park as well as the umpire tosses the ball up. Kolajasny pushes it away to Atkins. Clark goes after it, can't pick it up. Meek's got up, picked it up, and then he's tackled to ground with Bose on his knees. Can hand pass it out, but it's Carl Amon who kicks it away for Hawthorn. He kicks it outside of defensive 50. It's De Koning there, standing back to take the mark for Geelong. So he'll be able to launch the ball back inside 50 for the Cats. Cameron at the front, falls to the back. Bose is in there, can hand pass it away. It'll be a high hand pass towards Dempsey. Hardwick at the front can pick it up. Hand pass to McKenzie. He'll shove the ball on his boot curving towards the boundary line. Will still be able to be kept in play until it's touched over the line for a throw-in between wing and half forward for the Cats. Kicking towards the players' stand end of Cardinia Park. They're ahead by 29 points.
Sam De Koning comes to the bench from the applause of the locals. Thrown back in. Blitzavs is able to get rid of Meek. Geelong dominating. Kicks inside 50. Stengel couldn't hang on. Hardwick caught behind. Scrimshaw tries a blind turn out of traffic. Hand pass chopped off by Cameron. Hand pass to Bose for Geelong. Awkward ball for Holmes to pick up on the half volley. Hand pass away to Tom Atkins, trying to cut past Weddle. Back to Clark at the top of the 50. Hand pass to Humphreys. Little fumble. The Western Australian gets it forward to Bose. Gets it forward to Close. It opens up. Snaps on his right. Puts through another for Geelong. Some wrestling on the goal line as it sails through. As Neil and Frost are tangling, but another Geelong goal. 3 on the trot in the last 4 minutes to stretch it out as wide as it's been, a 35-point margin. 7-6-48 to Hawthorn, 2-1-13. 10 minutes gone, second quarter with Nathan Burke and Daniel Harford on ABC Sport.
19 handballs to 3 inside forward 50 for the game in favour of the Cats. They're just working the ball to the free player. Yes, there's some pressure on from the Hawks, but there's enough numbers coming through to support all times that they're able to find targets, and that's way too many goals under a lack of pressure from the Hawks inside the forward 30. Just snaps around the corner, walk-ins from the goal square. Way too many times they've found space through forward 50. So it's a great system that they've got in action today, but the Hawks will be disappointed with how they've defended ground balls in that area.
Blitzavs coming into the ruck now for Geelong. Meek rises above him, taps it out, hits Atkins, comes back to Blitzavs, who can hand pass it over his head. It'll be picked up though by Impey of Hawthorn. Just shoves it on his boot to get some distance for the Hawks. The umpire's blown his whistle and it'll be a free kick going back the way of the Hawks.
It's generous.
So it's Nick Watson with it, centre wing outer side of the ground. He kicks to half forward. Coming across was Holmes, affects the mark for Moore, who couldn't take it. Hand passes it to Dempsey, who takes a bounce, dodges around his opponent, then kicks down the wing to a pack. It's Scrimshaw at the front, couldn't take the mark, just taps it away towards Warple. Quick hand pass towards Impey, who can hand pass to Newcombe in the centre of Cardinia Park. He'll hand pass it to a running Weddle, who's got to chase after it, can gather, pick it up, and he'll be running down the broadcast wing, where he'll kick Hawthorn almost to the top of the 50. It's Kolajasny, though, easily coming in over the top to the applause of the Cardinia Park Geelong supporters, who intercepts, takes the mark, and kicks across to Clark.
Clark can play on at right half back around the members' side here at Geelong and kicks up to Gary Rowan, who marks on his chest. 2 goals already in game 200 as he has it between wing and half forward. Neil offers a couple of leads, ignores that, kicks beautifully, laced out in the middle of the ground for Dempsey. The best on ground last week against the Bombers. He pokes a kick inside 50, but getting back, Connor Nash takes the mark. The Irishman at full stretch at centre half back, turns and chips it out. Risky kick to Jaff. Holmes tried to get a hand into it. Spills out the way of Jarman Impey. Hand pass to Warple. Underground hand pass to Jaff. It might work. Cameron tries to get a hand onto it. Surely got Jaff high. And the whistle was eventually coming as he was dragged down by those dreadlocks. Good effort by Cameron just to get him by the back of the jumper. But the footy had to be returned to him. And has he got that trademark headband? I can't see him. He and Jack Ginneman like rocking that.
Yeah, he had a bit of Bruce Doyle action there. It was ripped off and he wasn't happy.
So he just had to put it back on right at that moment.
Who ripped Bruce Doyle's headband? Who was that? All those years ago.
Made him pretty angry.
He was filthy, wasn't he?
As Jaff kicked down to a pack. It'll be coming straight back his way, though. And it'll be a free kick going the way of the Hawks as well. Jaff is getting a little bit angry here. Maybe it was the headband. He's pushing and shoving with Cameron. But he's got the free kick. So it's his second free kick, same position. And Jaff's holding on to it. Doesn't want to move it quickly. Sitting under the Hickey stand. He'll just chip it towards McDonald.
So Geelong, with the way they set up here, they block off basically half the oval. That outer side from where the ball is to the inside, the forward 50, is basically blocked off with players just spattered around their zone.
McDonald kicked to a growing pack. Stewart went up, couldn't take the mark. Dempsey was there. He couldn't pick it up either. Bruce can kick. Hawthorn inside 50 to the forward pocket. No mark can be taken. It's Guthrie who's got it. Tackled. Hand passes it away towards Stewart. Blitzarves rather, who takes the footy over the boundary line for a throw-in. It's about 40 metres out from Hawthorn's goal. They're trailing by 35 points.
0437 774 774. We need listener contribution. Who was the player who threw the headband from Bruce Doull? I've got a feeling it was an Essendon player, but maybe that's just what lives in my memory.
Me too.
I think it was Richmond.
Was it?
Richmond, okay. Flicks it over the back to Dempsey. It was before I was born, I reckon. Into the middle of the ground. And Dangerfield gathers.
Sure, mate.
How fast away to Mitch Duncan. It kicks out to the broadcast wing. It's Clark who gathers. Under pressure as he kicks up towards half forward. He can't get it to Jeremy Cameron. The mark is taken by Jack Scrimshaw for the Hawks at left half back. He looks to switch it into the middle of the ground. Jaff has support. Oh, Warple in the end, trying to support him and made a meal of it. And Manna gathers to Geelong, chips it forward to Myers, 50 from home, looks into the pocket, options are plenty, and finds Shannon Neal in the left forward pocket. He's about 25 metres out from goal. We'll just have to work the angle.
When you're playing a team like the Cats, they're a good team, but you need to make them earn it. And Jaff, he's been a little bit sort of mouthy with Cameron, been a little bit of push and shove. You're just giving the other team ammunition when you drop a sitter and all of a sudden the other team are having a shot for goal.
Zach Tui told us on AFL Sunday last week, known as Scratcher Neal, has one already in the left forward pocket with no Tom Hawkins. He's getting his opportunity and he kicks goals like that. Finger in the air as he celebrates his second. Looking every bit of a natural forward. Shannon Neal, having done it in the VFL, is now capitalising for his time in the AFL. His second, and Geelong lead by 41 points. 4 goals to 1 so far in this second quarter. 8-6-54 to Hawthorn, 2-1-13. A horrible turnover by the Hawks, and the Cats make them pay.
I actually played with the original Scratchy Neal. After he left the Cats, he came down to the Saints for a year or two.
Yeah.
I must say, he probably looks a tad different from this Scratchy Neal.
Explain to our listeners why. What does the original look like?
He was a red-headed, probably not going to grace the front cover of any magazine.
Okay.
How about that?
Good afternoon, Scratch, if you're listening.
Lovely bloke, though. Lovely bloke.
So the ball was brought back in the middle.
Are you saying he's got a head like a half-eaten pasty? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we did make him wear a plastic bag on the aeroplane so he wouldn't scare the kids.
Start calling the footy, please, Lauren. Worried where we're going here.
I'll try and get us back on line.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So we had a secondary stoppage, which we were looking for and all that, and then it's a free kick going the way of the Cats. So it's Mano with the footy. It's a scrubby kick forward, but Dangerfield makes the most of it. Kicks into the right forward pocket. Cameron goes up, 2 hands, goes over the top of his head, just too high for Cameron. And it'll be brought over the boundary line for a throw in 40 metres around from Geelong's goal.
I reckon they missed a trick there too. Kolajasny was zipping past Dangerfield. He could have just fed that. He would have run to 45 and had a shot for the Cats.
So Geelong have got the last 4 goals in a row after Hawthorn kicked the first goal of the second term. As the ball's tossed in, the umpires found a free kick. And it went the way of Neal. Quickly hand passed it across to Cameron. Like he so often does, he kicks towards goals, but this time he misses just to behind. And it's Geelong's advantage that moves to 42 points ahead. It's 17 minutes played in the second.
Clearances this quarter are 8-2 in favour of the Cats.
They are putting on a show as Jaff kicks as far as he can up towards half-back. McDonald can't take the mark for Hawthorn. As Holmes, hand pass to Stewart, kicks up towards half-forward. Josh Weddle works his way to the front and marks in front of Manna and Close. Right half-back for Hawthorn, who trail by 41 points. Geelong with 4 goals to 1 so far in this second quarter. as Weddle kicks up the Hickey wing in the direction of Mitch Lewis. Can't take the mark. Collar Jasny got a hand to it. Brought it down to the front for McDonald. Kicks a high ball towards Day. In front of Henry. Has to spoil it down to the end, Day, but Henry gathers. That's Jack as Ollie is the sub this afternoon. Hand pass to Stewart to Tui. Brought down almost in the end by Chol. And it might have been a late whistle and a Geelong free kick. And Dempsey is going to get it. He doesn't realise. But it'll be his free kick at left half back. Now on the SMS 0437 774 774, let us know your name and where you're listening from. I think it was Kevin Ablett during a night game who ripped down Bruce Stoole's headband. Can you tell us who is Hawthorn's acting captain? I think it's Dylan Moore about James Sicily. And Marcus in South Melbourne says Cameron Clayton nicked Bruce Stoole's headband one day. Ex-Tassie bloke, so we've got a couple of culprits who might have done it over the journey.
Bruce copped it a couple of times. You would have tried to pitch it at one stage, wouldn't you? I reckon I would have had a crack at it.
So McDonald kicking down the Hickey wing to a pack, bounces at the back. Nash comes in to pick it up for the Hawks. Hand passes it away to Moore. He spins around, doesn't know where he's going, then decides just to kick it directly inside 50 to Chol, who's standing there all alone, and takes the mark.
A great poise by Moore there. He looked up initially, and it was all the Geelong players who pushed back deepest to goal. So just a little 360 and bided enough time for Chol to get free. Hasn't had a lot of the football so far. First touch this quarter, Joel. So he's not going to get like a whole stack of inside 50s. This game continues, so must make the most of this one.
Cameron limping off too for the Cats. We'll keep an eye on that.
So Mabior Chol on his approach. 45-degree angle, 45 out, just eases it towards goals, and he's got it through. They've been hard to come by goals for the Hawks so far. He's got their third for the afternoon on the board. It's Hawthorn 3-1-19, trailing Geelong 8-6-54 to 35-point margin, 20 minutes played in the second.
Well, not just Chol, Berkey hasn't had much of the footy, but Dylan Moore, who's been one of the best players all year for the Hawks, and a real igniter, gets up the ground, works hard back, and is a goal kicker as well. He's only had the 7 disposals for the game as well. Just hasn't had any time and space when he's had the footy. So that's one thing the Hawks haven't been able to do, get the ball into the hands of their real playmakers. Even Will Day's been spending a lot of time forward. The ball hasn't been there this quarter very much at all. So I reckon a restructure about how they use their best players might be in the mindset of the coaching staff, I reckon, for the Hawks, as Jeremy Cameron looks to be getting his ankle looked at and re-strapped on the bench for the Cats at the moment.
He's coming to the middle here, Dylan Moore. He's alongside Tom Stewart as the umpire balls it up. Chol and Sam De Koning spills out to Will Day, swings onto his left-hand side, kicks up towards the top of the 50. Mitch Lewis charging out, but he's caught behind Jack Henry, who takes an impressive mark. Just leaves the pack in his wake because he gets the hand pass away to Duncan. He turns it over though. Jaff in the middle of the ground, gathers the Hawthorn. Hand pass to Moore, kicks out into the right forward pocket, and Connor McDonald takes the mark. He decides against playing on. Now pushes back behind his mark. 45 metres out, right of centre.
The Day's involved in that clearance for the Hawks. Need more from him, the Hawks fans, and then Dylan Moore again. Forward to centre, getting the ball. He makes good decisions. He has big impact on the contest. It was a beautiful kick there to McDonald.
It's one of the few centre bounces that they've actually won.
Spoke about the headbands for a couple of the Hawthorn players. Connor McDonald was rocking a little mullet and a rat tail at one stage. He's out to the right, kicking from 45 for 2 on the trot for the Hawks. He misses. Offline to the right-hand side and a minor score. 34 points is the Geelong lead at the 21-minute mark of the second quarter. Wins for the Kangas and Port Adelaide today in round 17.
Unusual look, the rat tail these days, isn't it?
Still got it, actually. I couldn't see it in the night sky, but it's still there.
I think it's dyed a little bit too as well, just so it really stands out. Highlight of the haircut.
Far from me to talk too much about haircuts.
Yeah, mate, I'm going to keep watching the footy.
No rat tails in this box. Duncan.
We're going to reverse rat tail.
So Duncan's kick smothered. He goes back and gets it and kicks down towards Myers, who'll mark it half forward for the Cats. And just curves the ball inside 50. Good-looking kick. The mark taken by Manor as well. So crafty kick going in. Manor will hold on to the kick. He's 50 metres out though. He's back into the side for just his third game for the Cats.
Yeah, inside 50s, 5-14 again. This quarter dominated by the Cats.
So he kicked 6 goals in the VFL against Sandringham. Got recalled to the side. Chris Scott said it was more than just those 6 goals. It was everything else he was doing in the forward line. But he's full of confidence now as he kicks from 50. He's got the distance. He's offline, though, for just a minor score. So another behind for the Cats. It's now a 35-point margin, Geelong leading by 8-7, playing 3-2, 23 minutes played in the second.
He's had 7 possessions and 5 tackles, and I think that's what Chris Scott loves also.
Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport. Carl Amon kicks to half-back. Meeks in the pack. Stewart as well. Spills down towards Mitch Lewis. Knocks it towards D'Ambrosio. They keep it alive with a hand pass to Connor McDonald. High kick into the middle of the ground. Moore racing after it. Can't get there initially. Does gather though. Hand pass to Wimpy, who arches the back, trying to get away from Humphreys. Links up once more with Amon. Back to Moore. Now onto the outer side on the Hickey stand side. Away to Jaff, who drives a long kick in the direction of Newcomb. He and Gunston spoil each other as Jack Henry gathers. Hand pass to Guthrie. Kicks up towards Rowan. Jaff back with a fly. Probably fortunate not to give away a free kick. Stengel tries to break away from Jaff. Hand pass to Manor. Brought down by McKenzie. Holding the ball. And Cam McKenzie wins that battle in the middle of the ground as the Hawks try and look for a couple of moments of inspiration.
So here he is sitting back of the centre square, kicks out wide to D'Ambrosio. He marks at left half back, averaging 20 touches for the Hawks this year. Just chips it to Hardwick, and chips towards Carl Amon. Sitting on the AFL logo, takes the mark and then plays on towards half forward. Humphreys at the front for Geelong, brings it down to Taconi. You can take it and hand pass to Stewart, who handballs it across to Duncan. He goes long down the wing. A pack will be there. Day can bring it down for the Hawks. The umpire will call a free kick going the way of the Cats too, and it's to Shannon Neal. So Neal calls for the footy back quickly, then holds on to it, and he'll kick inside 50. Dangerfield there calling for the footy. In the end, he was double teamed by Frost and Hardwick, and they're able to punch the ball over the boundary line for a throw-in just inside forward 50 for Geelong. The Cats leading by 35 points late in the second quarter.
So +9 contested, +5 clearance, +10 inside 50s. It's been a demolition, really, and they probably should be further ahead, the Cats.
Daniel Harford, Nathan Burt, Matt Clinch and Lauren Borden with you on ABC Sport as Hardwick gets a hand pass to McKenzie. Moore's hemmed into the back pocket, kick partially smothered, spills to Stengel, fires from 45, he won't quite have the distance. Outnumbered Neal is 3-on-1. And Will Day, has he rushed it through? No, he's kept it alive. Hand pass to Jaff. Neal offers chase, kicks around Rowan, drives it up to half-back. No one's there for Hawthorn. Bruce slowly chases after it, but Zach Guthrie takes the intercepting mark. Kicks inboard to Tui.
So Tui holding on to the footy, and he'll kick into the centre of the ground to Taconi. Marks at half forward, kicks inside 50, where a Packle again will go up. Blitzars was at the front, he couldn't take the mark. He had 3 Hawks all around him. The umpire will come in to throw the ball up about 25 metres out from Geelong's goal. Quickly gets things underway. There's players all around the footy as it goes up. Going in and around for it is Manor. He can't pull it out. Frosty's there when the ball eventually is dislodged from the pack. And then charging in is Rowan. Can get to close. He just has to get himself into some space and snap. And he finishes it for the Cats. It was well done by Close to get the goal. Pulled himself back from the players in the pack and put it through for the Cats. He's got 2 for today. It's 9-7-61 Geelong. Moving ahead of the Hawks 3-2-20. It's a 41-point margin as we get nearer and nearer to half-time.
I know there's some numbers and congestion in the area, Berkey, but it's a relatively pain-free goal again for the Cats. Their ground ball work in their forward 50 has been exemplary, and the Hawks haven't had a way to defend it. It was involved in that initial phase of kicking it forward and follows it up close. Really good attack from Rowan, I think it was, and Close just picks it up and turns around and kicks a goal without any touch on him whatsoever. So just offensively, they've been brilliant. That forward 50 ground ball area really made the Hawks pay because their defence in that system hasn't been very good at all today.
No one really claiming Close as my player. He's my player, so I'm going to really stay close to him when the ball's on the ground. I think it was Seamus Mitchell just trailing along behind.
Jeremy Cameron back on for the Cats after getting that ankle strapped. 5 goals to 2 so far in this second quarter. Geelong's way after leading by 22 points at quarter time. Jai Newcomb gets a free kick for over the shoulder. Kicks up towards right half forward. Moore takes the mark. He's at the edge of the centre square, right half forward, looks into the pocket, sends it in the direction of Gunston and Chol. In the end, it's only Zach Guthrie who flies. Under pressure, hand pass to College Asney, brought down by Watson, straight to the boundary line, holding the ball. And Nick Watson's had a couple of moments. He'll get a free kick here in the right forward pocket. He was able to set up a previous goal and now a chance to try and kick one himself.
certainly didn't have prior opportunity to get rid of it. Whether he sort of just threw it out with one arm at the last bit when it landed on the ground, but a little bit stiff.
This is the part, though. 6 goals, 17 for Nick Watson. He's had 28 shots on goal, so going at about 28% from against the boundary line. He fires on goal. It's across the face, and it's rushed through off the hands of Meek as Cameron gets back to offer support for Geelong. It's a 40-point lead, the Cats' way, at the 28-minute mark of the second quarter on ABC Sport. Here's Lauren Borden.
Zach Tui brings it in, chips it to Guthrie in the right back pocket for the Cats. He kicks down towards Dempsey, but he's nudged out of it by Scrimshaw. He uses his body well to take the mark for Hawthorn. He goes inside the centre square to Warple. Takes the mark, chips towards Mackenzie. Half forward for Hawthorn. He'll put the ball inside 50. It'll be a mark taken by Jack. So Hawthorn will have another chance here to kick a goal late in the second quarter as they did in the first.
It was a hard-in-the-mouth centre from Weddle to Warple. It was surrounded by Geelong players, but it got edged in the nick of time and just opened up the far side of the ground completely through that risky kick. So it's good. I want to see the Hawks. If they're going to get back into this game, they're going to have to take a few risks.
So Jaff got his hammy issues sorted in the second half of this year as he comes in from 40 metres out to kick the ball towards goals, and he's happy with it. He'll wait for the celebrations to come and his teammates to come to him as he so often does. He works the margin back to 34 points. His side trailing Geelong. It's Hawthorn 4-3-27, Geelong 9-7-61, 28 minutes played in the second quarter. It's Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
I reckon you've got to be a bit bold, Berkey, down here against the Cats because they defend the ground so well behind the ball that you can't kick the ball in straight lines. You can't just force it forward because they will get the ball back more often than not with the way they set up. So you've got to be bold. You've got to take the game on a little bit. So the first ball back into Warple was a bit bold, and then Mackenzie gets it and goes wide again to the overlap runner from the winger from the open side, which is Jath, and finds that ball. So they got it offline. He didn't go straight to goal, didn't go to the hot spot, got lateral to where the ball, or the Geelong defenders thought the ball might go, and found some space. You have to do that against the Cats here, I reckon.
Daniel Harford with you on ABC Sport as the bounce will be recalled back in the middle of the ground. Newcombe alongside Atkins, Day joined by Bowes and Dangerfield and Warple as the two rucks battle. Meek and Collett and Sam De Koning. It spills down to Warple, who bursts out of the middle, takes a bounce, gets the centre half forward. Can he go for home? Lewis wrestling in the goal square, almost takes it down low against Jack Henry. It spills out to Watson. He keeps it in play in the right forward pocket. Hand pass didn't get to Gunston as Blitzavs sees it out of play. James Warple bursting out of the middle, trying to fight back for the Hawks.
Well, I know what Jason Dunstall would have done when they come bursting out of the middle. He would have led straight at the bloke kicking the footy, but Mitch Lewis just said, no, just kick it at me. I'm going to wrestle the guy in the goal square.
De Koning comes to the front, taps it down to Dangerfield. Long clearing kick to the centre of the ground. It'll be punched away by Cameron. Chasing after it is Day of the Hawks. He's got Rowan coming after him. Day goes after it again, just paddles it away. Rowan picks it up though. He's tackled. He's got one arm free. He throws it out. The umpire says play on. Close going after it. No. He's called it back. So Close will have the footy now for Geelong. He quickly kicks inside 50 towards Stengel. Can't mark. Got one hand to it. Impey's saying it was touched.
He got a free for blocking, I think it was.
And so it will be a free kick to Jarman Impey. So Impey holding the footy now in defence for the Hawks to be able to chip it to Newcombe late in the second quarter. It's the Hawks trailing by 34.
Right as the siren sounds for half-time. So Geelong holding a 34-point advantage at the main break with 5-3 in that second quarter after the Cats led by 22 points at quarter time. 9-7-61 Geelong to Hawthorn 4-3-27. The Cats looking to stay in touch with the top four while the Hawks have won their last 5 matches as they make their way down the highway to Kardinia Park. For Geelong, 2 goals to Sam De Koning and to Gary Rowan alongside Brad Close, individuals to Cameron and Neil, while for the Hawks their goals have come through Lewis, Warple, Jaff and Chol. Half-time at Kardinia Park. The winners so far today, Port Adelaide, comfortable winners over the Western Bulldogs, and North Melbourne with their second win of the season. Off the bottom of the ladder, victorious over the Gold Coast Suns. The thoughts of Nathan Burke and Daniel Harford with you on ABC Sport.
Well, it was the Cats. We thought Hawks might regroup at quarter time and change a few things around and come out on fire, but the Cats they started the second quarter like they started the first quarter. They were dominating inside 50s. They were dominating clearances. It was 8-1 at one particular stage, and the only thing that they really didn't dominate was they've kicked 9 goals to half time, but they should potentially be further ahead on the scoreboard. So you've got to give some credit to the Hawthorn defence, who withstood a barrage inside 50s for that quarter alone, was 17-8. Again, late in the quarter, they started to get a few more clearances, getting their hands on the ball first, and most importantly had some sort of free run. They were hitting a short pass and then being able to turn and then hit another one quickly. So there's a big difference between hitting a short pass slowly, taking 4 or 5 seconds to do it, or being able to turn quickly and go bang. And we saw Giath get on the end of a couple of those sort of passes and put through a goal late in the quarter. So 5 goals behind. We know in modern football that's not an insurmountable lead. It's tough down here at Geelong when the Cats are playing really, really well. But there is light at the end of the tunnel for the Hawks if they can get their hands on the ball first out of the clearance, if they can get some clean ball and they are bold, take the ball off the line, get the ball inside 50. Giath had a good quarter. He had 8 possessions and a goal. So their defenders can't sit back and just defend. They've got to run, get involved in the play, get the overlap going. And still got a game on our hands here, despite how good at times Geelong are playing.
When you consider in the last 5 weeks, we touched on this prior to the game, that Hawthorn have given up average 40 inside 50s a game. They've been the league's best at stopping their opposition from getting inside forward 50. At half time, the Cats got 34. So the Cats have worked out a system to get through the Hawks from the contest, and we did touch on it through the call in the first quarter. They're doing it by hands from contest and scrimmage, and then able to get forward, handball forward from the contest, which is catching the Hawks out. Even though they've often got an extra number at the contest, they're able to get forward of that number really quickly. And once it's inside their forward 50, their ability to get it back if they do lose possession is what's impressed me most. They're off ball pressure. They cover great space. They make Hawthorn go into the areas they want to get into, or they want to push them into when they're coming out of their D50. And their preparedness to hunt and get the ball back, put a smother on, get a hand in, tap it to a teammate to advantage. And then the ground ball work inside the forward 50, which we've touched on a few times in that second term in particular, has really impressed me. So it's been a real strong performance. I agree with you. I think they should be further in front at the moment. But as you rightly say, there is a capacity for this Hawthorn team to be a bit more dynamic in this second half and a bit more bold. And I wouldn't mind betting that it's the sort of game that Sam Mitchell would love to have at halftime, have this moment at halftime to set up, okay, fellas, what we've had so far hasn't worked. So we've got a little bit of personality in this group. Let's get a bit sexy out there. Let's play a bit of sexy footy and put them to the rack. Really put them to the sword. See if we can break them down by taking the ball into areas they don't predict is going to happen. They're just so good defensively behind the ball here, the Cats. You've got to get it into areas that they don't think the ball's going to go to. That's where the space is. That's where your free looks will be. And that's where your scoring might come from. But at this stage, if it continues the way it's going at the moment, it's going to be the Cats by 10 plus. And that's it's a great result for them on a good night for them with their full house here at Kardinia Park.
On the SMS 0437 774 774. We'd love to hear from you. Hi team, Fran from Melbourne going for the Cats tonight. Who were the Scott brothers under during their coaching apprenticeships? Great to hear. Daniel back with you guys. Well, of course, Brad was at
Collingwood.
Collingwood, wasn't he?
Malthouse early doors.
Yep.
No doubt. Chris was up at he was at Freo for a little while before he got the Cats job.
He did.
Who was he under at Freo?
Good memory, don't you?
Well, that's my era, those guys. I played with those guys. They were sort of my hood.
Could have been Mark Harvey.
It was pre-2011, wasn't it? So
yeah, we'll scroll our way through that.
Whoever that was.
Greg in Geelong says, hi guys, you're making me feel old. I remember watching Scratcher at KP. Tonight I'm watching from Leopold. I can see the lights and listen to the best call in the business. And a few conflicting as to who it was who ripped Bruce Stoole's headband off. Murph listening in Alice Springs says, hi. Clayton Cameron snatched it. And was it Tony Buglar threw it into the crowd at VFL Park? John in Geelong said, had a great chuckle at hearing the reference to the headbands. And Mark in Bowenhead says it was definitely Kevin Ablett. So we've got a couple of different people. And Claire is listening in from Lisbon. Berkey didn't hold back saying, Scratcher, was no oil painting. No name, no mention. That's a bit rich. You're no oil painting yourself. So the feedback is
Did you
coming.
add that in, or did that come from the call?
No, that's coming on the SMS.
Fair enough. I'll take it. I'll cop it.
0437 774 774. Some of your sharpest work on a Saturday night, if you could be so kind and let us know where you're listening from. Games still to come tonight from different parts of the country. In Sydney, it's the Giants taking on Carlton. And in Perth, it's the Dockers and the Tigers. If the game you want isn't on your analogue radio, the ABC Listen app has it all covered. Just click on the AFL Extra button. We'll pause from Kardinia Park and get the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
Hello, this is ABC News with David Rowlands. A senior Hamas source has told the Reuters news agency that the group has accepted a US proposal to begin talks on releasing Israeli hostages 16 days after the first phase of an agreement aimed at ending the Gaza war. The source says Hamas has dropped a demand that Israel commit to a permanent ceasefire before signing the agreement and would allow negotiations to achieve that throughout the 6-week first phase. A Palestinian official close to the internationally mediated peace efforts says the proposal could lead to a framework agreement, if embraced by Israel, and end the 9-month-old war between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. Reformist candidate Masoud Pezeshkian has won Iran's runoff presidential election. A count from authorities gave him victory by almost 3 million votes over hardliner Saeed Jalili. Mr Pezeshkian's policies include easing enforcement of the country's mandatory headscarf law after years of protests. Ethnic communities across Australia are being promised better support and protection against intimidation and harassment from hostile international regimes. New measures to counter foreign interference are being introduced as details emerge of plots to eliminate dissidents that are on Australian soil. Home Affairs Minister Claire O'Neill says the latest steps will improve existing laws and add new protections.
Australia was world leading in putting in place laws to protect against foreign interference. Those laws have not been entirely successful, and that's why, in addition to the reforms the government is announcing today, we've also said that we are going to revise those laws to make them more effective for Australians.
US President Joe Biden says he was sick with a cold during his debate against Donald Trump last month. Mr Biden has been facing increasing calls to step aside from the presidential race in the wake of his lacklustre performance. The comments came during an exclusive interview with American ABC News anchor George Stephanopoulos. When asked if it was an episode or a sign of a more serious illness, Mr Biden had this to say.
It was a bad episode. No indication of any serious condition. I was exhausted. I didn't listen to my instincts in terms of preparing, and I had a bad night.
People living in a quiet neighbourhood in Melbourne's north have been shocked by the discovery of a woman's body at a nearby waste management facility. Police are investigating a home in Coolaroo after the discovery of the body on Wednesday. The woman's identity is still unknown. It's believed her body was dumped in a bin and taken to an Epping waste management facility where it was discovered by staff. Neighbour Beatrak Batanaku has lived in the street for 36 years and says the elderly woman was a new neighbour who lived alone.
Terrible. It's scary. Because actually this street is very safe. It's very quiet. Because most of the people here is old people.
The driver of a car that crashed into a tree that killed a 16-year-old boy in the Hunter Valley overnight has allegedly tested positive in a roadside breath test. Lillian Watkins has more.
Police say the 16-year-old boy was in the car with 4 other teenagers, aged between 14 and 17 years old. Emergency services were called to the scene at 11:15 last night, finding the car crashed into a tree on Lemon Tree Passage Road in Saltash. A 16-year-old boy died on the way to hospital. The 17-year-old driver allegedly tested positive in a roadside breath test and was taken to the hospital for mandatory testing. The 3 other passengers sustained non-life-threatening injuries. A crime scene was established and police are investigating. Police are urging anyone with information to contact them.
A Canberra mother who assumed her hip pain was a sports injury for 2 years before finding out it was a rare cancer is sharing her story in order to try and help others avoid the same fate. Around 2,500 people in Australia are diagnosed with sarcoma, which originates in the bone and soft or connective tissue like muscle, fat, nerves and ligaments. Kayla Crame Bowman learned she had a sarcoma in her thigh almost 2 years after first experiencing pain and says limited awareness in the community and amongst policymakers is a big issue.
If we don't raise more awareness, if we don't grab the attention of the government, nothing's going to change. Without people knowing about sarcoma, the chance of them being diagnosed so much later and having poor outcomes is really, really high.
And multiple fire crews have been battling a blaze in Brisbane's north. Emergency crews were called to the scene on Evelyn Street in the Grange just after 2 o'clock this afternoon. 4 houses have been alight. 5 fire trucks are at the scene where at least one of the houses has been lost. This is ABC News.
Wimbledon 2024 on ABC Sport. Hear it live every night on the ABC Listen app. Just search for the tennis button.
Are we ready, ladies?
First floor, ladies' apparel, shoes, hats and model gowns.
Let's create the best dressed women in Sydney.
Welcome to Goods Department Store, 1961, in a brand new series.
Is harsh lighting an Australian thing?
Oh. Somebody is copying our most expensive designer gowns.
I built model gowns and I'm demoted to ladies' shoes.
Ladies in Black. Streaming all episodes now. Always free, always entertaining on ABC iView.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Gunston tried to get to Koning out of the way, and then Tui lost it. Watson pitches it. He gets to right half forward, and a beautiful pass. He finds Mitch Lewis directly in front, 25 metres out. His second disposal of the match coming up. Back for his first game since round 3. The Hawthorn spearhead comes in and gives them something to build on. Mitch Lewis is on the board, and it's now a couple on the trot either side of quarter time. Geelong by 16 points. It's Tui who gathers on the wing, reloads inside 50. Cameron almost hung onto the mark, spills out Dempsey's way, hand pass to Koning off the outside of the boot, sublime from the big man. Sam de Koning making the footy talk.
Dangerfield will put the Cats back inside 50, kicking to a pack. Rowan can't take the mark, spills to Cameron out the back, snaps for goals, and he's got another one for Geelong.
Back to Clark at the top of the 50. Hand pass to Humphreys. Little fumble. Gets it forward to Bose. Gets it forward to Close. It opens up. Snaps on his right. Puts through another for Geelong. Neil has one already in the left forward pocket with no Tom Hawkins. He's getting his opportunity. And he kicks goals like that.
Jack got his hammy issues sorted in the second half of this year as he comes in from 40 metres out to kick the ball towards goals, and he's happy with it. Works the margin back to 34 points, inside trailing Geelong.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Half-time at Kardinia Park, it's the Cats who lead by 34 points as round 17 of the AFL continues on ABC Sport. 9-7-61 to Hawthorn 4-3-27. Matt Clinch and Lauren Borden calling the action. Daniel Harford and Nathan Burke are your experts. Earlier today, there's a bit to take you through. Port Adelaide winners over the Western Bulldogs, 15-12, 102 to the Bulldogs, 8-6-54. It was 5-2 the way of Port Adelaide in the opening quarter, and they never looked back from that point onwards. Mitch Georgiades with 5 goals, Jason Horne-Francis with 3. The Power jump up to 4th on the AFL ladder tonight with their 10th win of the season. Meanwhile, at Docklands, it was a second win of the season for the Kangaroos, and they're off the bottom of the table. 13-9-87 to the Gold Coast Suns, 12-11-83. So the Kangas winners by 4 points. The Suns managed 3 goals, 5 in the final term. Jess Webster with ABC Sport was in the rooms post-game, and she caught up with young star Harry Sheasel.
Here with Harry Sheasel after a thrilling 4-point win over Gold Coast at Docklands. You finally got a win at home for a very, very long time. Talk me through the performance and what was the most pleasing part about the win today?
Yeah, it was so good just to get another win under the belt and really showed that our footy post-bye is really standing up now. And just so proud of the boys. I think the last few weeks we've been in those situations where we've been up at three-quarter time but have let the game slip, and to hold on today and really show some composure in those last few minutes. I'm just so proud, and winning's much better than losing, I'll tell you that.
It was actually the first time that you've won at home since round 1 2023. So the 3 wins that you've had since then, a couple in Perth, one in Tasmania. But to actually get the win in front of your home fans who are going ballistic in the stands in that final quarter, that was also your first game as well, the last time you won at home. So it must make it a little extra special to win here at home.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy to think that was my last win here. But yeah, the North fans have been unbelievable. Coming to every game, they're so loud. Like, the numbers might not be there, like they're not high crowds, but like it feels like there's 50,000. It feels like a full house out there, and so happy for them to enjoy some footy after a hard 5 or so years of not much winning. But yeah, I'm just so proud of the boys as well that have stepped up in those moments. Like Colby McKercher comes in this week and he has like 35, 37 touches and gets his first win, which I'm just so happy for him. And yeah, I think the maturity of us the last 4 weeks since the bye is just really showing, and I think we found our DNA.
You've certainly taken a step up in the last few weeks, as you've mentioned. So what do you put that down to? What's the key part of the game that you think has evolved or has moved steps forward so far this season?
I think it's pretty evident. It's our pressure and our contest work and our clearance work. We know we have a really strong midfield that if we can get on top and really bring the pressure all over the ground, our forwards are doing an incredible job, and our back six are holding up so well. So yeah, really proud of them. They were under siege first half of the year, getting a lot of inside 50s against them, having to stand up. But I think the last few weeks since we've been able to win our own ball and get some inside 50s ourselves, they've looked so much better. And yeah, I think us midfielders and the forwards can shine from there.
And I know you're going to soak up this win today and during the week. But looking forward, other than banking a couple more wins, in the back end of the season, what are you hoping to get out of the next few weeks?
Just consistency with this brand of footy. Just to be in more games, win more games, like we're showing, like exactly like the past month. And yeah, I think we're going to take some scalps. I think we've got the Swans up in Sydney next week, and if we bring our contest work, our clearance work, I think we're a genuine chance if we do that. But it's on us to bring that, and they're an unbelievable outfit, so it'll be a great test. And yeah, we're back into the year. I just want to bring that contest and consistency with that and take it into next year.
Thanks for your time. Well done today.
Thanks, Jess. Appreciate it.
Harry Sheasel, the young North Melbourne star, catching up with Jess Webster after the Kangas' second win of the season, prevailing by 4 points over the Gold Coast Suns. It's fair to say Damien Hardwick, he was a little frustrated when he spoke to the media post-game and lay it out on the line.
I'm angry, to be fair. And as a footy club, we've got to grow the up, to be perfectly honest. Excuse the language.
So excuse the language. Berkey, Half, you've both been in the coach's box. The frustration with the Suns unable to win away from home. No doubt he would have expected a little bit better. He never really did like Docklands, did he?
No, he never did. He never did. We were talking about this prior to the game. If you're going to win a game on the road, if you're a half-serious footy team and you think you're a finals contending team, you have to defeat the bottom team on the ladder. You have to win that game. You have to chalk that up and say, yeah, that's a game we'll win, and then go out and do it. To not have the ability to do that, I can sense the frustration and the anger in David Hardwick's voice there, let alone his content. But it's a precarious situation for him to be in too, because of his dislike for the venue and what he's said about that place before as well. So it's a fascinating byplay to a game that they had to win if they were half serious this year.
Sort of got to go back to Freo under the Chris Connolly days when they couldn't win away from Perth, Berkey. But is it maturity? Is it coaching? Is it the ability to be able to just come to Melbourne and get a job done?
I think it's maturity. It's just mental ability to focus on what's important and have confidence in your game plan that no matter what oval you're playing on, you can play that game style, and they just don't have it.
Players are out in position ready for the second half. Just repeating tonight, depending on where you're listening, we have the Giants and the Blues from Sydney and the Fremantle Dockers and the Tigers. Coverage available via the ABC Listen app on both. If the game you're looking for isn't on the AFL button, just click on the AFL Extra button. So much sport taking place as well. There's Wimbledon on the ABC Listen app as well. And in the NRL tonight, the matches taking place today for round 18. Wins for the Gold Coast Titans over Cronulla, 20 points to 16. That was yesterday, I should say. Penrith winners over the Broncos, 14-6. Today it was the Bulldogs winning 13-12, and the West Tigers leading the Melbourne Storm, 12 points to 6. 26 minutes gone at Leichhardt Oval there. Tonight it's North Queensland and the Manly Seagulls. The Cats have been in control here at Kardinia Park. They lead by 34 points. Into the second half we go. Here's Lauren Borden.
34 points the advantage of Geelong. So Hawthorn with a lot of work to make up. They want to win 6 in a row for the first time since 2018 as the ball's tossed up to Koning. Hand passes as he's tackled to Atkins. Kicks the ball to half forward. Up goes Blitzarves, running back, takes the mark. He took the mark and just disregarded Hardwick, who was behind him. And Blitzarves will send a kick to the hot spot in the arc. Up players go. Mark can't be taken. It was Scrimshaw who went up for Hawthorn. It comes down to Holmes, who hand passes it to Atkins. And passes it back outside 50 to Duncan, whose kick doesn't come off his boot well. And Myers chases after it. And we'll see it over the boundary line for a throw-in just on the pain of 50. It's Geelong still ahead by 34 points early in the third quarter.
It's another ground ball they couldn't win, the Hawks, with numbers at the contest there as it was fisted to ground, that ball inside forward 50 or defensive 50 for them.
Throwing back in, Blitzavs takes it out of the ruck, kicks it end over end inside 50. Cameron can't gather, tackle by Hardway, spills to Stengel, standing start, kicks towards goal. How will it bounce? It bounces away from Neal. It's knocked back by Seamus Mitchell for the Hawks. Got it to McKenzie in the right back pocket. Kicks up to Meek and Chol. Off hands, it hits the ground. Warper was clean. Hand pass missed the target though. Duncan centres it. And Tyson Stengel marks 50 out from goal. Directly in front. With a newly minted contract and a 5-year contract extension for Tyson Stengel. Turning down the offers in Victoria. Signing with the Cats at 2029. Puts it in the direction of Cameron. He flies, can't take the mark. Spills to the front. Frost under pressure. Rowan gathers. Hand pass to Manor. Hand pass to Myers. Chips it back, not 15 to Stengel. Tackle by Warple. Gets a kick towards the goal mouth. But a comfortable mark for Frost for the Hawks, who marks and kicks out to McDonald in the left back pocket.
Holding onto the footy just inside the 50 and then chooses to kick straight and flat. Goes straight into the hands of Kolajasny.
No spread from the Hawks out. 16 players inside defensive 50 at one stage. They just didn't get out of there.
So Kolajasny will go inside 50. Neal running through, couldn't take the mark. Again, there's 3 Hawks players behind the footy. They can get it out of defence to Impey, who hand passes to Day. Back to Impey. Handball across to Weddle. Short hand pass to McDonald, who's running, and he's taken down, and that's got to be a free kick going the way of the Cats, and it is. So they had the numbers, but weren't able to get it out of their danger zone.
He looked up, and all he had was Gunston running back inside 50 with Chewy with him, and just reluctant to kick to a one-on-one.
So Cameron with it at centre wing will just kick it right to centre half forward where Duncan will mark. And he can turn around and go now, Duncan. He'll pop it to the goal square. He's got Rowan there. Rowan leaves it for Dempsey, who's at the back and takes it on his hands and knees and holds on to the mark. Rowan knew he had his teammate behind him, and Dempsey was there to clutch the mark, and will kick from a couple of metres out on an angle.
Mitch Duncan up to 18 possessions now, the most on the ground, and he's just trotting around the half-back line doing exactly what he wants. It's a lovely position to be in when your coach gives you that sort of licence.
Ollie Dempsey has been good the last couple of weeks. He stands on his mark and looks to snap. And it goes right across the goals. It'll just sneak through behind.
At no stage did he look like he wanted to kick that ball.
No, he didn't want to kick it on his left. No. It felt like he had to.
And the way he kicked it, I would encourage him never to do that again.
Yep, it was somewhat unorthodox at best. As the Hawks bring it back into play, Jarman Impey goes short, and the mark is taken by Scrimshaw. Wants to give it back to Impey in the left back pocket, trying to generate some run. Kicks up towards Marbiol Joel, and big Mitch Lewis, who rises at the back. Marks over Zach Guthrie. Hand pass to McDonald, charging pass. Kicks up to Gunston, who's racing back inside 50. He marks in the left forward pocket with Tui in tail. Jack Gunston looks for avenues into the corridor. Nothing really on offer. He's got Chol at the top of the goal square. Now might have to have the shot himself.
You get the distance. He's going to be kicking from around about 48. So, senior player, go back, take the opportunity, put through a much-needed goal.
One of 3 30-year-olds, the triple premiership Hawk from the left forward pocket. He misses everything. Offline to the near side, out of bounds, on the full, with his hands resting on his knees. Not quite the finish Jack Gunston was looking for. Geelong leading by 35 points.
Perhaps should have looked for the pass.
So Duncan will ship it to Miles, who'll go long along the Hickey wing. Plenty of players around the footy. Comes down to Bowes, who hand passes it straight into his opponent. Ricochets back out over the boundary line for a throw-in at centre wing on the Hickey stand ground of Cardinia Park. So 35 points, Geelong's advantage. They've had a lean run in the last 8 weeks or so, but still in touch with the top 4. As the ball's tossed in, Day picks it up, and then he's tackled by Manor the moment he gets it for a ball up. Right at centre wing. Meek and De Koning go at it. Meek can tap it around, and it's a high free kick going the way of Lloyd Meek, the Hawthorn ruckman. So Meek will win the footy at centre wing, and he'll hold on to it. And he's slowly just got to wait for his teammates to get ready. He looks behind him, before just loading up and kicking it long right inside 50. Goes over the top of everyone, and it's Kolajasny sitting at the back who holds onto the mark. Reads it best. We'll have the footy and we'll chip it across to Duncan. He's holding it at centre half back for the Cats.
As Tom Stewart receives it from Mitch Duncan. He's 40 metres out from his defensive goal. The players stand in. It's into the middle of the ground, and Max Holmes marks. He plays on immediately around the broadcast side towards Blitzev, sliding in from the side. Jarman Impey made the spoil. Blitzev's hand passes out to the wing for Atkins. Cleverly knocks it back to Guthrie. Cuts past Warple, almost run down by Watson. Kicks up towards half forward. Scrimshaw in front of Cameron. He hangs on to the mark for the Hawks. At right half back, turns in boy to Meek. Tui gets there late, gets a fist in there. Sliding in manner for Geelong. Hand pass to Holmes, puts it out in front of Bowes. In the middle of Kardinia Park, cuts past the tackle of Hardwick. Hand pass away to Myers from 45 out. He kicks across the face and misses to the left-hand side. Almost the perfect build-up for Geelong, but Ryan Myers just couldn't finish. A 36-point lead Geelong's way.
Ball brought back in. Hawthorn defence to Mitch Lewis, who's found his way in defensive 50 for Hawthorn. And he hacks it, kicks to the top of the 50. It wasn't a good-looking kick, and Cameron was always going to mark that one for Geelong. He saw it, read it best, and put himself in the position to mark it, and he'll now have a set shot from directly in front, 50 metres out.
Yeah, there's risks, and there's too risky. That one certainly was in the latter category.
Jeremy Cameron just pounced on the mistake by the Hawthorn defence. Now line up from right in front. It's a good-looking kick as he launches it towards goals, and the umpire watches it go through over his head. Cameron's got two. And Geelong just keep piling on the pain for the Hawks. The margin extending back out to 42 points, the advantage of the home side here tonight. It's Geelong 10-9-69. Leading Hawthorn 4-3-27. Just 7 minutes played in the third quarter, and things look like they're not going to get any better for Hawthorn half.
Yeah, we're all for taking the game on. We've asked for that at half-time from the Hawks. But you've got, going back to Berkey's conversation earlier in the afternoon about Lloyd Meek's limitations, Mitch Lewis is pretty similar, I reckon. You wouldn't want to be getting too much pinpoint precision off that boot for a 45-metre kick across the ground inside your defensive 50. I mean, you've got to have a player who's sitting there absolutely by themselves. So there's limitations you've got to play within. Get the ball to someone who can do that. We'll find another way. I did notice some direct feedback from Mobio Chol as hands in the air saying, "What the hell are you doing, man?" Who was waiting for the ball down the line on that occasion.
So the Cats extend it once more, 42 points, as we're going to have a secondary. No, we're not, in fact. John Newcomb will get a free kick for in the back against Atkins. Gets the hand pass away to Will Day. Tries to kick inside 50. Bruce stayed down. Henry makes the spoil. Guthrie brought down by Watson. Ball spills clear. Lewis's hand pass to Chol. Swings onto his left. And Hawthorn finally have one to start the second half. And they come from everywhere to celebrate with Nick Watson, who kept the ball alive. Some great forward craft in the right forward pocket. And Hawthorn have their first goal of the third quarter. It comes at the 9-minute mark. Geelong 10-9-69 to Hawthorn 5-3-33. Marbiel Joel with his second of the day.
Yeah, fortunate free kick in the middle, but they made the most of it by moving the ball quickly. A quick handball to a running past player. When they do go long inside 50, they've got Chol and Lewis down there, but for some reason, the ball, when they kick long inside 50, doesn't go near those two guys. It normally ends with Bruce or Watson. Watson hasn't had a great day with the ball. He's only had the 5 possessions and 4 kicks, and only one of them's hit the target, but he has had 4 tackles. I reckon they've probably jibbed him on a couple there as well. His tackling and run-down pressure from behind has been very good.
So from the middle, it's Blitzarves, who hand passes to Stewart, who hand passes forward. Newcomb tries to pick it up. He's on the ground. He can't. And in the end, it'll be Blitzarves with the footy, and the umpire will blow the whistle for another stoppage just outside the 2 centre circles. Tosses the ball up. Meek taps it down right directly into the path of Newcomb, who can hand pass it across to Moore here. Moving the Hawks quickly down the ground, kicks inside 50 and picks off, of all people, Guthrie, who was standing back there to intercept the mark for Geelong.
Half, if you can tell me why full forwards don't lead at the player coming streaming out of the middle, please do, because it does my head in week after week after week.
No, can't answer that.
Like Luke Bruce running backwards towards goal, and his Geelong defender actually led at the kicker and took the mark uncontested.
And it was a beautiful pass too.
Yeah.
Humphries for the Cats, kicks up the wing. Meek can't take the mark. Geelong get it forward. Hand pass to Cameron. He kicks into the pocket looking for Rowan. He clears Weddle and finds him in the left forward pocket. And he's going to centre it. He has Tom Stewart. He's pushed forward. He takes the mark as Will Day tried to get a fist in late. Going back with the fly. Unselfish from Gary Rowan in game 200. Finding his vice-captain in the middle of the forward 50.
So that handball forward of the contest here, just in front of us in the broadcast wing, was what broke that passage open. Jeremy Cameron just started to drift into a spot 20 metres ahead of the contest. Geelong win the ball. They just clear the area by hand, but forward of it, importantly. Cameron was sitting in there all by himself. The Hawks flat-footed defensively.
Hasn't kicked a goal so far this season, Tom Stewart, and he still hasn't as he drags it to the left-hand side. Getting an opportunity to push forward in the midfield in the last few weeks. Misses to the left-hand side. Geelong by 37 points at the 11-minute mark of the third term. Matt Clinch and Lauren Borden calling the action. Daniel Harford and Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport.
Carl Amon takes his time bringing it out of defence, and then he just kicks it to a pack on the outer side of the ground. It's Atkins that comes in, barges his way through, hand passes back to Dempsey, who hand passes across to Humphries. He's tackled, and the ball spills over the boundary line for a throw-in. Or it'll be a free going the way of the Hawks.
On the tackle from Watson, they'd be really impressed with his defensive aspect of his game today, Burke, as you said before. He's had 3 free kicks and 2 turnovers because of 5 tackles.
So Dylan Moore takes the kick, goes down the line, and it's Stewart who picks it off easily for the Cats. He'll just chip it across to Tui, who's ahead of McDonald, takes the mark and wants to switch it across back to the broadcast side of the ground. Finds Jack Henry, centre half back, and Henry will just go back across towards Stewart. And again, they'll use the Hickey wing here by kicking it out to Holmes.
Sure.
And he'll chip it towards Manor, but it's been picked off there by McDonald of Hawthorn. It's tackled by Manor. McDonald paid the mark and hand passed it to Newcomb, who hand passes it to Hardwick, who's just leisurely strolling along the outer wing. Hand passes it to D'Ambrosio. Straight kick direct to the goal square, looking for Watson. It's punched away and it's over the line for a minor score. So just one behind now for Hawthorn. They're 36 points behind Geelong, the 13th minute mark of the third quarter.
And it looks like Sam Mitchell has decided to make his sub, Jack Gunston, to be subbed out. Meaning Harry Morrison will come into the match. Ollie Henry, the sub for the Cats, hasn't been used yet. And Zach Tui brings Geelong back into play. Kicks over the head of Neal. Meek down low. Can't gather it cleanly for the Hawks. Warple was clean. He's shoved out of play by Mark Blitzavs. Right half forward for Geelong. They lead 10-10-70 to the Hawks 5-4-34.
Yeah, not a big day for Jack Gunston. Just the 2 possessions and only one of them hit the target.
That's the problem, isn't it? Playing he and Bruce in the same forward line, both over the age of 30. He's thrown back in. Blitzhouse wins down the tap. Clark can't gather. Warple's over the footy once more with Newcomb, and the umpire will ball it up.
It's not really the area of the ground that's been their problem today, though, is it? When 23 inside forward 50s, they just haven't been able to get the ball in there, the Hawks today.
Meek wins down the tap, but only as far as Stewart. His kick is smothered. Warple tries to get a disposal away. Could have been held when not in possession. No whistle. Now McKenzie over the footy. And the umpire circles and will ball it up. Manor laying the tackle. Belted down the door with 6 goals in the VFL for the Cats to wake his way back into the side.
Player tosses the ball up. Dangerfield picks it up. Hand passes it back to Manor, who kicks long down the broadcast wing to a contest. Neal just punches it away. It's Morrison, the sub, who can pick it up and send it down the wing for Hawthorn to Nash, who hand passes it to McKenzie. He's tackled. He has to go back to Nash. Quickly kicks inside 50 here for the Hawks. It'll be an intercept mark taken by Kolajasny, who just stood and read the ball best in the middle of the pack, swiped in and took the mark for the Cats. Kicks directly to Jack Henry, 20 metres ahead of him.
So it looks like Hardwick's gone forward now. He's been playing the afternoon back against the Cats here today. Gunston goes off, Hardwick goes forward, Morrison goes to half-back.
Henry chips to Humphries. Geelong defenders just happy to use the footy here until they find the right avenue they want to move to take it forward, as Humphries kicks back to Kolajasny, who chips to Tui in the right back pocket. Tui looks around ahead of him to a packed Hickey side wing. That's the direction he'll choose to go. He kicks long down. Dempsey was standing by himself. He goes straighter than that, and it's Newcomb who picks it off for Hawthorn. Can kick right to Warple, centre half forward. He looks to go right, then he hand passes it ahead of him to Moore, who just has a shot at the goals, and Moore has it through. Such such an important player for the Hawks. The acting captain today. Moore's got his first on the board. It's now back to a 5-goal margin in favour of Geelong. The Cats 10-10-70, Hawthorn 6-4-40. 15 minutes played. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Well, that's that intercept mark up around the wing that Hawthorn have been really good at. It's normally James Sicily taking those marks and then zoom back inside 50, and that occasion it was Weddle. Hasn't had a big day himself doing that sort of thing, so that's the way Hawthorn like to play. Force the ball long outside of their forward 50, get an intercept mark, turn over quickly, go back at the opposition as fast as they possibly can. Just haven't been able to turn that ball over through the middle of the ground often enough to get that style of play going.
Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport on the SMS 0437 774 774. Cheerio to Darren and Sandy who are listening in from Broome. Much warmer than Geelong. As Lloyd Meek can't break away, he's brought down by Tom Atkins. A good battle from the smaller cat. Tommy's listening to us from Exmouth as well. Not missing the Geelong weather, 23 degrees there. Righto. It's chilly here in Geelong. It's beanie and scarf weather with your big jacket, as we'll have a third stoppage still in the middle of Kardinia Park. The Cats have, for the first time, conceded back-to-back goals, so Hawthorn have been able to put 2 on the trot. Can they look to add on that as Carl Amon ducked out of a tackle, was almost taken high. Play on's the call, spills out Geelong's way. Cameron comes into the middle of the ground, hand pass, Scrimshaw read it best. Kerry gathers for the Hawks, hand pass to Warple, gets the hand pass to Meek, sidesteps close, who then gets the smother. Manor comes charging in, it spills the way of Clark, tries to break away from Scrimshaw. Hand pass only as far as Warple to McKenzie under pressure immediately. The heat's gone up a level or two as Bowes locks the ball up to the right of the centre circles. It's Geelong who lead by 30 points, 17 minutes gone, third quarter.
Close again with one of those real 1%ers, the smother. They're just the small forwards, the half forwards who want to get the ball back and get involved is one of their greatest assets, the Cats. It's been a highlight tonight.
And Hawthorn broke my golden rule, doing really well, except they handballed the ball to Ruckman.
So a secondary stoppage ball tossed up. It comes out to Holmes, clearing kick to half forward for the Cats. Cameron fighting for it. He might be able to shrug off Scrimshaw. He can. In the end, it's Stengel that's chasing after it for the Cats. He's beaten to the footy by McKenzie, who hand passes to Scrimshaw, hand passes backwards to Amon, who just puts the kick on his boot. Manor easily chops it off. There'll be a mark inside 50 here for the Cats, and Graham Myers will hold on to it. I knew the minute he kicked that footy that was not where he intended it to go.
Just reckon it's perceived pressure, Loz. A lot of this, the way they've started the game, hunting all the way through, locking the ball in their forward half. The Hawthorn defenders know there's very rarely they're going to get any time and space to make decisions quickly. So they've got to go faster than that, and they put themselves under pressure as a result.
Brian Myers kicking from nearly straight in front, arcs out for the goals and puts it through. He breaks a string of a couple of Hawthorn goals to just push that buffer back out for the home side. It's back to 36 points Geelong's way, 11-10-76. Hawthorn 6-4-40. It's been 18 minutes played in the third quarter, and Geelong well on top.
The disappointing thing for the Hawks is that they're working really hard, but the last 2 goals have just been direct turnovers of Hawthorn players virtually kicking the ball to Geelong players. So you've got to make it at least hard for the Cats to score. Around the ground, they're working really hard. Their midfield are working really hard, but it's just some good ball use. Carl Amon is down there for his ball use and his decision making, but that one, unfortunately, it looked like he deliberately picked out the Geelong player.
Ryan Myers with his first goal of the evening. Geelong back to a 36-point advantage with 2 goals apiece so far in this third quarter. Back in the middle of the ground, it's Bowes that gets the hand pass to Dangerfield. Links up on the broadcast side with Atkins. Kicks down low for Cameron. Sliding in front of Frost, he takes the mark. He's at left half forward, 55 metres out from goal with that famous number 5 on his back. Stengel runs the boundary line. He wheels onto his left. Puts it into the direction of Gary Rowan, flying from the side. It's Marbiel Joel. Gets back to offer support, just 15 metres out from the Geelong goal at the Joel Selwood stand-in.
Geelong cut off the switch just so well. As soon as that mark was taken, they just flooded to the other side of the ground.
So Joel's kick went out, Cameron went up and then fell down onto his back. Moore was able to gather. And hand pass to Warple, nearly does, then kicks down the line to a one-on-one between Toohey and Hardwick. Hardwick can win out here. He's got no one ahead of him. He just has to hack the ball inside 50. It bounces once at right angles across the boundary line, and it'll be a throw-in deep inside Hawthorn's attacking 50.
Best possible result there for Hardwick, and nothing, as you said, Loz, and the call just hacked it onto his boot. Didn't know where it was going to go. Could have gone anywhere, that one, but fortunately for them, bounces out of bounds 30 minutes from goal.
So ball to be tossed in now inside Hawthorn's attacking 50. Brought to ground. Mackenzie runs onto it and then curls the ball to the right forward pocket. It's Duncan who picks this one off for Geelong. He takes the mark and will just kick across the defensive 50 to Dempsey, who nearly takes the mark. He can gather, hand passes it away, right into the shins of McDonald. He'll kick now into the pocket where Chol can mark. It's play on, it was touched. Chol can get the ball away across to McDonald, who kept running. He kicks the ball towards goals, but it's just through for a behind. So they were just hacking the ball down desperately, and in the end, McDonald did his best, but just a minor score. It's 35 points now, the advantage of Geelong.
A fend off on Zach Tui was impressive, but had Jack Bowes offering support, got a hand onto it, through for a minor score. Hawthorn out of defence. It's gathered by Impey, works it down to Jaff, chips it inboard, and Dylan Moore marks. There's one already in this third quarter. Chance for the Hawks to try and kick another one to close the gap once more. The acting captain tonight. How much of an impact do you think half James Sicily not being there has had on this team?
It seems to have a fair impact every time he's not there, in fairness. And obviously, captain's one of your great leaders on the field and one of your best players more often than not. So not surprised, but it does seem to affect him significantly.
25 goals for the season, make that 26 as Dylan Moore out to the right is able to put through his second. Trying to lead by example for the Hawks as it clears the goal line. And Hawthorn answers straight back. 3 goals to 2 so far the Hawks' way in this third quarter. The margin is Geelong by 29 points. 11-10-76 to Hawthorn 7-5-47. 22 minutes gone. Third quarter on ABC Sport.
To Berkey's point before about Sicily in his absence and his role of intercept marking, and he's such a good decision maker with ball in hand. It's such a beautiful kick. Will take on kicks that most other players wouldn't even dream about and pull them off. And without that ability in the back half of the ground or just defensive side of centre, it does make it more difficult to transition the ball forwards, which the Hawks have found tonight. The Cats have put up the wall many, many times and stopped their attacks just because they haven't had anyone able to pull the trigger on a really difficult kick.
It's goal 100 as well for Dylan Moore, and he's 91 games, the 24-year-old acting captain tonight.
So ball back in the middle, and Day chasing after it, can just tap it to Impey, who hand passes it to Meek. Again, he goes with a long kick inside 50 for Hawthorn. Lewis tried to mark it, couldn't hold on to it. Kolodjasny with a clearing hand pass to Duncan, who can hand pass to Humphries. He's got Dempsey running, and that's where he chooses to go. Dempsey goes to Myers, who's met in a tackle by Will Day, just crunches him. It might be Day that's worse off here too as well.
Hurt himself, Day. The trainer's waving for the doctor to come across.
So it was Myers running and he met him.
A head-to-head clash, I think. The chin of Day.
So play will resume with Day still on the outer side of the ground. It's Stengel with the footy. Hand passes it almost to himself. He goes back and gets it. Then hand passes it to Rowan. It'll be one bounce across to Cameron. Can he get it through? Of course he can. Jeremy Cameron with something special. He always likes to produce at Cardinia Park, and tonight he's got 3. It was a quick response to Moore's goal. And Geelong moves that margin back out to 35 points now. Geelong 12-10-82, Hawthorn 7-5-47, 24 minutes played in the third quarter. So Will Day looks like he's getting walked off the ground by a couple of physios and the doctor. Well, they might let him play on.
You'd imagine he'll have to come down at some stage for a concussion test, but sort of turned in the end, trying to lay the tackle into Graham Myers' head, and the head contact normally would be enough for the doctor to encourage him to come to the bench. Jeremy Cameron, much to the applause of the Geelong bench, with his third. Leading goal kicker on the ground so far tonight. Cats back out by 35 points. Bounce back in the middle. Meek drops it down for Warple. Hurries a kick to half forward, but Moore is caught behind. And the mark is taken by Jack Kolodjasny. Kicks out towards Humphries. He marks at left half back, the Western Australian in his second game, having debuted last week against the Bombers. Kicks up towards Close. He marks at left half back. Cannon into by Sam Frost, who can do that from time to time. Gives it to the Geelong fans as well. As close veers out to the right, drives it inside 50. Rowan and Blitzavs is there. Weddle makes the spoil. Front and centre is gathered by Myers. His kick was smothered. Ricochets back to Impey. His kick is smothered. Spills in the air to Blitzavs. Knocks it down. Warple tackled by Stengel. Umpire circles. And we'll ball it up just 35 metres out from the Cats' goal. The Joel Selwood stand in. It's Geelong leading by 35 points.
Suggesting Frosty might not do it on as an accident.
No.
So Frost contesting the ruck there, but it's Warple who gets it. Hand passes it away to Jath, who just clears a kick outside a defensive 50. He'll be coming back his way, though, via Bowes, who shoves the kick to a pack. Up goes Neil, can't mark. At the back is Close. He'll have a snap this time, and Close will go. So Close jumps on the bandwagon with his third goal as well. And joins Jeremy Cameron with 3 for tonight. You see a lot of Hawks players now with their hands on their heads and on their haunches after letting that one slip late in the third quarter. It's Geelong 13-10, 88. Hawthorn 7-5, 47, a 41-point advantage for the Cats late in the third.
We don't have the stat here, but the smother stat, or at least getting a finger on the ball. Geelong have been absolutely outstanding tonight. And that was 2 smothers inside their forward 50, enabled the ball to just stay alive. Came straight back in, and they do the basics really well. They're small players. They cover the front, the back, the side. That time it came down to Close. And then you combine doing the basics really, really well with the ability to have the skill to then finish off and kick the goals. That's what Geelong have done tonight extremely well.
Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport as Warple tries to spin out of traffic, ran straight into Tom Stewart. You are not passing me, as he locks him up in the middle of the ground and has to bump him out of the way to retrieve the footy. The Geelong vice-captain drives a kick inside 50, Stengel in front, spoiled by Mitchell from behind. It was over the shoulder, says the umpire, and it's all going the way of the hoops at the moment. Tyson Stengel directly in front, 45 metres out. A chance to try and put through his first of the evening.
Well, the foot's to the throat at the moment, isn't it, for the Cats? They're trying to finish this game and make sure that it's a margin that the Hawks can't come back from, and they're doing everything right at the moment. Beautiful strength through the middle of the ground from Stewart to get that ball back, and then free kicks going the way inside your forward 50 because they're prepared to lead towards the ball, Berkey, which is to your point, which Hawthorn haven't done very well, and Geelong have done extraordinarily well tonight.
Funny concept, that.
31 goals of the season for Tyson Stengel, in the top 10 in the AFL so far this season. He slowly approaches the man on the mark and just drags it left, maybe looking for a couple of metres of distance, and a minor score for Geelong. Has kicked multiples, a goal in every game since round 2. Multiples on 10 occasions so far this season. The Cats by 42.
Equal game high margin for the Cats as Scrimshaw with the kick in absolutely hooks the kick. So far it goes out of bounds on the full, just outside of 50. Close will get the free kick. He calls for his teammates to come towards him. Rowan's around there. He brings the ball to ground. Scrimshaw has it, and he's locked up by Dempsey, and we'll have a ball up 10 metres out from Geelong's goal. Still time for a late one for the Cats. Popped up. Neil contests it. Taps it up. Stengel's there. Tries to kick over his body. Hawthorn players stop the ball from going any further. And it'll be locked up for another ball up.
Will Day did eventually make his way off the ground and is getting checked by the doctor.
So Frost and Neil go at it. Blitzarves comes in there for the Cats. Stengel finds his way out of it. Can hand pass it away to Holmes. Jath is holding on to it. He's tackled to ground. It comes out the back to Frost. Hand passes it away to Meek. The umpire blows his whistle. And it's another ball up right at the top of the goal square for Geelong.
Thrown in the air quickly. Frost just volleys it out of the air. It might work. Bounces in front of McDonald and Bowes. Gets to the back. Bowes gathers. McDonald lays the tackle. Is that prior opportunity? Umpire says it's not. And we'll ball it up. What do you reckon? Was that on the ball half?
I reckon there was plenty of chance to get rid of the ball. He had one arm free. Wasn't able to do so.
They're the ones, if the fans in the stands are a little unsure, but never been umpired better, according to the AFL CEO, Andrew Dillon. Seamus Mitchell. Wasn't that a controversial comment? Gets the hand pass back to Jarman Impey. His kick is close to the boundary line. Moore and Stewart tangle and it goes out of play.
You've got to back your team, don't you, I suppose, if you're Andrew Dillon. He's like the coach.
At least publicly.
That's his team publicly. It's like any coach post-game outside of Damien Hardwick, I suppose.
They could make it a bit easier on the umpires, couldn't they?
Well, not the way the game is. The laws are written at the moment. The interpretations are written.
So Blitzarves takes the footy. He's tackled by Morrison or McKenzie, and then we will see a holding the ball call. It'll be McKenzie, the recipient of it for the Hawks.
He had nothing to go to. He's looking backwards, sideways, forwards, and all he's got is a long kick down the line.
And he does find Meek, who holds on to it. Umpire says he had enough of it, but D'Ambrosio wants to play on. The umpire will bring it back to Meek. So one of the few times that the Hawks players wanted to play on quickly, and Meek's got it, and he'll just hand pass it away to Mitchell, who hand passes it to D'Ambrosio. He'll go inside 50, hoping for a mark late for the Hawks. He won't get it. Just punched over the line to mark three-quarter time. So Geelong just continuing to heap a bit of pain on the Hawks. It's 4-3 in that quarter. Moore doing his best for the Hawks with a couple. But it's Geelong moving out to 42-point leaders after leading by 34 points at the main break. 13-11-89 playing Hawthorn 7-5-47. The goal kickers for today for Geelong, it's 3 to Jeremy Cameron and 3 to Brad Close. Shannon Neal has a couple, so does Sam De Koning and Gary Rowan, and then it's a single to Brian Myers. While for Hawthorn, it's 2 to Dylan Moore, 2 to Mabior Chol, and then singles to Jath, Warple and Lewis.
Earlier today, winners for North Melbourne, their second win of the season, off the bottom of the ladder by 4 points over the Gold Coast Suns, and Port Adelaide were big winners over the Western Bulldogs. As always, you can get in touch with us on the SMS 0437 774 774. I'm copying it on the SMS here. Adrian from Geraldton waiting for the rain to cross the coast, enjoying the call. Scarf and beanies weather, what an understatement, is currently barely 8 degrees in Geelong. Hate to hear your definition of cold. It has got a little cold. It's the middle of winter.
Well, I'm in shorts, so...
You're always in shorts, though. Great to have your company for Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
Wimbledon 2024 on ABC Sport. Hear it live every night on the ABC Listen app. Just search for the tennis button.
Empowering entertainment on ABC iView.
There is no more shame.
You have to hold your nerve.
Pick yourself back up again.
Be assertive and stand your ground.
I'm gonna do what I want.
I want a career.
Everything will be alright.
I'm trying to prove that I'm a real musician.
Let your true colours shine bright.
I'm black and I'm the best.
Freeman, The Newsreader, Ladies in Black, A Life in 10 Pictures, and so much more. Always free, always empowering on ABC iView.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Mitch Lewis, who's found his way in defensive 50 for Hawthorn. And he hacks a kick to the top of the 50. It wasn't a good-looking kick, and Cameron was always going to mark that one for Geelong. Jeremy Cameron just pounced on the mistake by the Hawthorn defence. Now line up from right in front. It's a good-looking kick as he launches it towards goals, and the umpire watches it go through over his head. Cameron's got 2. Margin extending back out to 42 points the advantage.
Henry makes the spoil. Guthrie brought down by Watson. Ball spills clear. Lewis's hand pass to Chol. Swings onto his left, and Hawthorn finally have one.
Newcombe, who picks it off for Hawthorn, can kick right to Warple, centre half forward. He looks to go right, then he hand passes it ahead of him to Moore, who just has a shot at the goals, and Moore has it through. Brian Myers kicking from nearly straight in front, arcs out for the goals and puts it through. He breaks a string of a couple of Hawthorn goals. Just push that buffer back out for the home side. It's back to 36 points Geelong's way. Stengel with the footy. Hand passes it almost to himself. He goes back and gets it, then hand passes it to Rowan. It'll be one bounce across to Cameron. Can he get it through? Of course he can. Bose, who shoves the kick to a pack. Up goes Neal, can't mark. At the back is Close. He'll have a snap this time, and Close will go. So Close jumps on the bandwagon with his third goal as well.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
3/4 time at Kardinia Park. The Cats have an answer for everything at the moment. The Hawks are throwing at them. 13-11-89 to Hawthorn 7-5-47. The Cats by 42 points. Matt Klitsch and Lauren Borden calling the action. Nathan Burke and Daniel Harford are your experts. For the majority of our listeners, with the exception of WA, our next stop will be Sydney, where the Giants will take on the Blues. And that's where we find Brett Sprigg.
G'day, Clinchy. It's quite simple. Every game matters in a season like this, and no team understands that, or at least should understand that, like the GWS Giants. They've had back-to-back losses and now dropped 6 of their past 8, sitting just outside the top 8. And today, or tonight, they meet the Blues, who are establishing their own claims for the flag. 5 wins in a row for Michael Voss's men. Plenty of momentum behind them, as tonight they welcome back Tom de Koning and Matt Contrell. Pitnet and Hewitt go out of the side. The sub tonight is Matt Owies, while for the home side, no Josh Kelly. He's out with a calf. One of 4 changes for them. Lockie Ash also withdrawn yesterday for that same reason. Joe Fonte will make his debut, and James Peatling, also among the inclusions for the Giants, will be their sub. Conditions are fine here in Sydney. I'll call the action alongside Ty Kennelly, Jason Saddington, Daniel Garb and Poppy Penny. Coming your way next, Clinchy, the Giants and the Blues here at the Showground.
I saw the Blues, Spricky, last week. They were pretty impressive against the Tigers, especially a 7-1 third quarter. What's the mood around sort of the Giants headquarters? Are they optimistic they can find it again?
I think this is a do-or-die game, and a few times Toby Green's been asked in the past few weeks about the importance of each game, especially at home, to win, get back on track and make claims. If they lose tonight, of course, they're still in for top 8 chances, but being a top 4 contender, being a flag contender, they've got to win this game and plenty more, the Giants, on the run home.
Yeah, they've got a bit of work to do. Thank you, Spriggy, especially after their 16-point loss to the Crows last week. We'll be with you after this game. For our WA audience, it will be the Dockers and the Tigers. Daniel Harford and Nathan Burke.
Just on that Giants game, I mean, it's a huge opportunity for them, with the Bulldogs losing, Gold Coast losing, Collingwood losing in such an even phase of that ladder between 6 or 7 and 13. Even Hawthorn probably lose this. It's a big opportunity to get a jump on all those teams around them with that win against the Blues, if they can pull that off tonight. Easier said than done, of course, because Carlton, as you rightly say, are pretty hot to trot. And the Cats have been hot to trot here tonight, Berkey, the way they've dominated the game pretty much from that first centre bounce that we saw all the way through until three-quarter time, and the Hawks haven't been able to find a way through them, around them, past them at any great stage. Their ability to get the ball back and get the ball inside their forward 50, lock it in, is probably the difference.
Good news for the Hawks. Will Day has obviously passed his test and back out there for this last quarter.
Ollie Henry, the sub for the Cats, hasn't been used yet. Harry Morrison came in the third quarter for Jack Gunston. Into the final term we go. Sam de Koning wins down the tap. Newcomb gathers. Locked up immediately by Tom Stewart. Starting to look more and more comfortable as a midfielder as he stands alongside Will Day here. Zach Tui said he could be one of the best midfielders in the game if he played there permanently. He tries to get a clearance here to Manor. He's locked up by Warple. They can't break away from the centre circles, and the umpire will throw it up once more.
It's not something they'd persist with for the rest of the year, is it? If they had their choice.
I don't think so.
No.
So Manor curls a ball to half forward, picked up though by Carl Amon, who clears the kick away to half forward for Hawthorn. It goes over the top of Chol, will go chasing after it as well. He pushes Duncan off the footy, then has to go after it. Kolajasny in there, holds onto it, comes out from underneath him. Chol just paddles it forward. He gets it only as far as Duncan, who picks up the footy, and he's tackled to the ground. The umpire will come and throw the ball up right on the paint of 50, very close to the boundary line. Hawthorn kicking towards the Selwood end in the final quarter. So Meek taps it away. Chasing after it is Warple. He can hand pass it away to Day, who ducks as the footy goes over his head, and we'll have a throw in just in front of the Geelong race.
Interesting conversation for the coaching committee of the Cats as to what they do with Stewart on the way back in the last 6 or 7 weeks of this season. He's clearly capable of playing this role as a defensive midfielder, but he's a 5-time All-Australian behind the ball.
So Hawthorn will go forward here. It was Impey with the footy. He got tackled. Hand pass to Moore. Long kick to the goal square. Hoping for a mark to be taken, and he gets one. It's Mitch Lewis. Lewis in his return game stuck his hands up, held on to the mark, and he'll kick from almost directly in front, about 12 metres out. Wastes no time in going through and slotting his second for tonight. The margin brought back to 36 points, the advantage of Geelong after Lewis's second goal of the afternoon. It's just a couple of minutes played in the final quarter. Geelong 13-11-89, Hawthorn 8-5-53. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
It's funny how games can swing. 4 minutes to go, Hawthorn had kicked a goal, and they were 29 points down. You're thinking if they can snag another one in the last 4 minutes, 4 goals down last quarter, anyone's game. But it was the Cats class who just got that out to 42, and Imagine if they had have not just conceded 2 really easy ones, kicked the first to the last, this could really be game on. But good that they've got the first. Let's see if they can continue to take this game on, and who knows how close they can get.
7 disposals, 4 marks and 2 goals for Mitch Lewis on return. Nathan Burke with you on ABC Sport. Tom Atkins gets the clearance to Geelong, kicks inside 50. Cameron Karma, Stengel at the back, brought down by Jarman Impey. Great chase, and the kick goes out on the full. Hawthorn will take it through Sam Frost. Cats, of course, have the Pies next week, who all of a sudden have their own injury issues, the Magpies. And really only Tom Hawkins, Cam Guthrie and Tanner Bruin are missing from sort of Geelong's best lineup. Toby Conway as well.
He got the torp out of the fullback.
Frost clearly got his licence and somehow made it work. It got to Newcombe and then hand pass to Will Day at halfback. Through traffic to McDonald. They work it around the broadcast wing. Hand pass to Bruce. He kicks up towards half forward. Hardwick worked out of it, but Guthrie can't take the mark. Gets to the back. Guthrie back onto it. Chol onto him. He's locked up by Heat and Hardwick.
Wouldn't be his pen licence though, Jack Frost out the back. It would be his pencil licence. He surely wouldn't be given full pen licence grade 3 style.
With crayons.
So Bowes clears the kick away and goes down the wing. Here is Frost, who's trying to pick up the footy. He's tackled to ground by Neil. Locked up. Umpire just waits a second before crossing his arms and throwing the ball up on the wing.
It might be a sign of what Sam Mitchell said to them at 3/4 time, just to have a crack and do something out of the ordinary and see what happens.
Warple with a clearing kick to half forward. Umpire blows his whistle. A free kick will go Geelong's way to Stewart, or the mark paid as well as he kicks backwards to Jack Henry, who's just holding the footy centre half back, and he'll kick back to Stewart, chip it across to him. Still in defensive 50, he'll ease the ball to DeConey, right half back for the Cats.
Such a good player, Jack Henry. He's just made himself such a pivotal part of this team and rarely gets beaten. Love the way he plays.
So DeConey goes down the wing. Blitzarves brings it down. Day picks it up, can just get a hand pass away in the direction of Warple. It's picked up by Myers, though, who hand passes to Bowes, who hand passes to Humphreys, who puts Geelong inside 50. Here, a mark taken by Neil at the top of the 50.
We'll have to get that out of the big fella's game.
Leading at the ball.
Can't be leading up at the kicker and putting out in front. So,
you're going to say that.
But how easy is that? Handball chain through the middle. He looks up, sees the big fella leading straight at him and takes a mark out in front. Gives the absolute defender no chance whatsoever.
And it's Shannon Neal now kicking from just outside the 50-metre arc. To join the club of those that have kicked 3 goals tonight. He's just missed the right-hand side. So behind for Neal. Geelong's margin out to 37 points in the 4th term.
He's done well tonight, Neil, and absolutely. I know Geelong won't talk him up as this, but the heir apparent to Tom Hawkins. It's lovely to have him just sitting there waiting.
Carl Lamont with a high kick out of defence is able to find Marbiol Chol, who's worked his way up the ground. He marks at left half back in those bright pink boots. Kicks up towards Hardwick. Stewart able to come in from the side. Marks in front of Hardwick and Tui. A comfortable mark for the Geelong defender now, midfielder. Not his best kick. Back towards Kolajasny. Back with the flight is Mitch Lewis. He lands awkwardly. No whistle for the Hawk forward. It spills the way of Max Holmes, who takes a bounce. Lewis is still on the paint of 50. Hasn't moved as Holmes runs around the Hickey stand wing. Hand pass forward to Bowes. He looks for options into the middle of the ground. Nothing presents. Kicks over the head of Gary Rowan. Chol dropped the mark. Close tries to soccer it forward. A pin balls the way of Stengel. Hand pass out to Humphreys. Just inside 50. Laces out a kick. Options are plenty. Cameron takes the mark in front of Neil. Hand passes to Blitzav from 2 metres out. He puts it about 20 rows back. And Mitch Lewis is still down, which would be very concerning for Hawthorn fans. Just his 4th game of the season, returning since round 3. But Geelong make it a 43-point margin, 14-12-96 to Hawthorn, 8-5-53. As we get a look on the replay of Lewis going back one direction, Kolajasny coming out the other. The concern will be the knock to the back of the head, but also how twisted his right knee was.
Yeah.
They've called for the blood rule or a stretcher. I couldn't quite see what the umpire was calling for. Looks like a stretcher might be coming out.
I think both. So he got a bit of blood to the back of the head. But you could tell the way that he landed, very loose and floppy. There's a fair chance that he wasn't really overly conscious on the way down.
Tom Stewart was quite concerned for him as well, so an opposition player stopping just to make sure he was okay and to get the doctor's attention as well, who was already running out to him.
So he's up on his feet at the moment, so that's good news.
Well, and he's limping on that left leg, which was caught underneath him when he fell.
So the towel to the back of the head where the blood is streaming out from. A doctor and a trainer on either side, and getting some applause from the Geelong locals here, and thankfully he is okay to walk off, so that's the good news for Hawthorn fans, given he's missed such a large portion of footy over the last 2 seasons. The Cats leading by 43 points with the second goal of the final term, a goal apiece through 8 minutes.
Yeah, well, the head will come good, so let's hope that slight limp on that left leg isn't anything serious. They've already made their sub, so Gunston went off earlier in the game, so the Hawks will be potentially one down. You wouldn't think you'd risk this big fella for the rest of the game.
Especially as the doctor's walked him off, and it looks like he's just going to walk him straight down the race too as well. He's got a doctor on one side and a physio on the other side, and they're just walking down the Hawthorn race here. Towel still on the top of his head with a bit of blood coming out. His ball's tossed up in the middle. It's Mackenzie who can hand pass it across to Day here. Go inside 50 for the Hawks. It'll be almost a mark here by Hardwick. He dropped it. Humphries went after it for Geelong. Then Kolajasny came through. Hand passed it away to Blitzars. Shoves it on his boot. High, long kick down the wing. Very close to the boundary line. And it's out of bounds on the full.
Think about what they're doing with Mitch Lewis, just watching the walk, is that the Hawthorn room's the other side of the ground.
They've changed them. So they've gotten rid of those old away rooms on the other side of the ground, and they've refurbed them for the away team. So they're probably pretty happy with that one, I think. Away teams used to say they were pretty shocking the other side of the ground.
Horrendous.
So the kick comes inside 50 for Hawthorn. It might have been thrown out. There will be a free kick going the way of the Cats.
Not sure if you cross it, Daniel. They've got a bit of government money over the last few years.
Have they?
Made some improvements around Kardinia Park. There's talk of...
I was walking it here on the way to the game. You know what they need? They need a big training centre.
Well, that's apparently on the horizon.
About $60 million, I reckon.
Pick up towards Blitzhouse that went through his fingertips, hit him in the head. He's going to get a free kick downfield Geelong's way. As just trying to work out what the late whistle was for. It was off the ball, but Blitzhouse is going to take it. Centre wing on the broadcast side, sends it up towards Neil at half forward. Rowan in from the side, almost vertically as he tried to hang on to the mark. Close, can't keep it alive as he runs the boundary line. Out right half forward, and it goes out of play. The Cats heading to the players' stand-in this final term.
Scoreboard looks good though, doesn't it?
Doesn't it just? Just glistens in the Saturday night.
Probably need another one up the other end.
Set the AFLW team up with all the sorts of resources as well. Maybe we could play a few more games down here as their season looms closer. From the stoppage, Lloyd Meek can't get a clean disposal away. Cameron's hand pass for Geelong, pinched by Newcomb. Hand pass inboard to Mackenzie, stripped of it by Close, and then Blitzavs lays the tackle on Mackenzie, charging through.
Is it true the old away rooms had no cold water, or only cold water, no hot water? That's what everyone used to say.
For a period of time, there was just a portable out the back.
Oh, God, it's even worse.
Get changed in.
Right, as Cameron takes it, he hand passes it to Bowes. It's slapped in by Manor. It was clever from him. In the Clark direction, couldn't run onto it to pick it up. Harry Morrison battling for the footy. There's 3 players around the ball right next to the boundary line, and it'll eventually just find its way over it for a throw-in 40 metres around from Geelong's goal.
I can't talk about change rooms. Moorabbin were less than salubrious.
Or hospitable for the away team. Speaking of cold water.
So ball tossed up, tapped over the boundary line. We'll have another throw-in just around from Geelong's goal. So we've got a 43-point lead here in this 4th term. It's a game-high lead.
Deserved every one of those points in the lead, Loz. They've been fantastic tonight, the Cats.
Coming to some form the last couple of weeks as ball's tossed in. Koning might have been held. Doesn't get the free kick. Neil gets a hand in it, then off to Clark. Hand pass to Stengel. He's tackled by Impey. Then Stengel has to do the tackling on D'Ambrosio. Spills out to Clark. Hand pass to Neil. His hand pass just goes through the fingertips of Atkins. It's Impey who kicks it and tries to ease it down the field. It's just gone straight out of bounds on the full for a free kick for Geelong. It's Kolajasny to take it.
Between wing and half forward for Geelong. He drives it long inside 50. They're all there. Neil, Cameron, Dempsey. Spills down the way of Seamus Mitchell, who gets a clearing kick, but only as far as Tyson Stengel, who hugs it to his chest in front of Lloyd Meek. He's out to the right. He's going to poke it into the pocket. Cameron's on his own, and he takes the mark. It's been some loose play from the Hawks inside their defensive 50, and this will take Jeremy Cameron's best, but it's probably not far from where the players would leave Kardinia Park, so I'm imagining he practices quite often from here.
And that's the thing with modern footy, the way they kick the ball around corners from these areas of the ground. You've got to defend to the boundary line in the pockets because they can just roll around their body like Jeremy Cameron's about to do and kick them fairly straightforward these days.
Cameron opens up the angle, snaps on his left. It's curling, but it's across the face of goal. And a minor score. You see some of the Hawks fans who have made the trip down the highway at the players stand in as that went across the face of goal. Jeremy's kicked 3 goals tonight. Geelong by 44 points.
It's quite a large contingent in the brown and gold, isn't it? And compared to the old days, when you've got 27 tickets for the opposition team.
And the Cats have made their sub with Paddy Dangerfield having a rest.
So Harry Morrison kicked out. It was picked off by Lawson Humphreys of Geelong. He chipped it to Atkins, standing at the top of the 50, who just chips it further forward, and it's Manor who's marked. So another set shot coming up for the Cats.
Another repeat entry, Liza, and Berkey touched on this early in the game. Back the first quarter, I remember him saying about Hawthorn doing the same thing with kick-outs, kicking long to numbers all the time. They haven't changed that at all, really, through the night. There was another occasion where the Cats were able to get the ball back just through numbers at the contest from a long kick-in. It's been very unusual what the Hawks have done out of defensive 50 tonight. The Cats' forward pressure and the way they're set up probably does it a bit, but most unusual.
Manor skips in from outside 50, lets loose towards the goals, and he's missed to the right-hand side. So another miss for Sean Manor in his return game, and Geelong's lead out to 45 points. It's 13, nearly 14 minutes played in the final term.
They load one side, get the left footer normally, but this is the right footer and Impey. Just kick it long to the corner of the square effectively.
Can be towards Nash and Chol. It's spoiled down by the Geelong defence. Bowes too easy through traffic. Kicks off the outside of the boot. It's over Ollie Henry's head, and the mark is taken by Harry Morrison. So the 2 subs involved there. Looks out towards the left half-back. Puts it in the direction of Massimo D'Ambrosio. He kicks wider still, and Connor McDonald marks. Geelong 14-98, leading Hawthorn 8-5-53. The margin 45 points. It's a kick from McDonald up towards half-forward, and Lawson Humphreys just slides in to take the intercepting mark for Geelong. It's looked every bit comfortable at AFL level as he works it back to Tom Stewart on the paint of the defensive 50.
It's across to Duncan, who chips across to Guthrie. He'll kick further out wide towards Jack Henry, standing at left half-back. Dangerfield subbed off a few moments ago. No injury, just a bit of management. As he kicks back towards Clark, who switches it back to Humphreys. He started the chain from right half-back and continues it by kicking it to Clark. He went on the half volley to him, so Clark had to get rid of it quickly. Back to Humphreys, and he kicks down the wing to a contest. Blitzarves takes the mark, throws his opponent out of the way, and holds on to the grab at centre wing. Blitzarves will go back to Humphreys. He's racking up a few disposals in the last minute or so. He'll kick to Tom Stewart at centre half-back. Kicks it inboard to the centre of the ground towards Atkins, who'll go to half-forward this time. Goes over the top of Cameron. D'Ambrosio's there to collect for Hawthorn. He kicks inside to Bruce, who goes out wide towards Moore, who kicks out wide to Hardwick, and he'll mark centre wing out of side of the ground in front of the packed Hickey stand.
Decided against the option short down the line, and now looks to drive it long in the direction of Connor Nash and McKenzie. They crash into the pack as Sam de Koning gave a little nudge. It's gathered by Clark. Hand pass to de Koning. Swings onto his right-hand side. Kicks out to Max Holmes. It marks at left half-back. Have they found their future ruckman in Sam de Koning?
Absolutely. He's been outstanding again tonight. 16 possessions and 2 goals against Lloyd Meek, who's been in some really good form this season.
The 2 goals that remind you of his brother Tom as to what he might be. As Dempsey marks centre wing, kicks inside 50. Ollie Henry flies, as does, in the end it was Neil. They crash the pack, and Hawthorn are going to work it back inside the defensive 50. Seamus Mitchell works it to D'Ambrosio, chips it to Connor Nash at left half back. He plays on and looks around the wing, ignores the short option in McDonald, drives it up to Chol and Stewart, and Marbiel Chol marks out in front.
He's got more running right next to him. Hand passes to him, who then kicks down towards Bruce, who's pushed in the back, or he's held in the end.
It's a great chase from Cameron, though. He really wanted to get there and impact that contest with Bruce. Gave away the free kick in the end, but great to see him put in defensive effort.
And Bruce puts the kick towards Hardwick in the left forward pocket and not able to mark, and the ball will go out of the boundary line for a throw-in.
It's Max Holmes and Kolajasny and these guys that are allowing Chris Scott to just experiment with Tom Stewart, because they're doing such an outstanding job across the half-back line. They really don't need him because those guys are so good.
Nash just picks it up out of the ruck, hand passes it to Moore, tries to curl the ball towards goals. Jack Henry easily sitting back there on Hardwick. Chest mark. Stops the ball from going any further as he chips it across to Kolajasny in the left back pocket. And he'll just chip it towards Zach Tui. His 14th season now playing AFL, the former Blue, holding onto the footy in defence, and he's urged to play on. Kicks long down the Hickey wing where most of the play has been tonight. And it's intercept mark taken by the Hawks. Scrimshaw holding onto the mark. Might have hit him in the face a little bit too, but he's held onto the mark just in front of that Hickey stand. Hawthorn trailing by 45 points in the fourth.
Scrimshaw inside 50. Hardwick on the lead. He marks in front of Tui. It was a well-executed pass, and they left space for him in the left forward pocket. And Blake Hardwick, having spent most of the night in defence, the sub was made in the third quarter. Jack Gunston came off. He went forward, and a chance to kick a goal in the final term here. 13 goals of the season for Blake Hardwick, who was a forward in his under-18s footy. Sam Mitchell tapping into some of that in 2024. Out to the right, he comes in, crosses through 50, and the Bronx cheer. Tell you all you need to know. Out to the right, fails to score. Out of bounds on the full. Geelong by 45 points at the 19-minute mark of the final term.
Just looks as if, just watching the body language of the Hawks, that the Geelong boys have done the boa constrictor job on them. They just sucked the absolute life out of them through the game with their pressure and their ability to lock them down and not allow them to get any free-flowing motion into their game. And they're out of juice, they're out of energy, the Hawks.
So Tom Stewart's kick will be coming back by Amon. Stewart there as well, punches it away. Moore has it, he can hand pass it to Watson. Gathers, here's a voice behind him. Hand passes to Bruce, who just tries to square the kick up to Chol. He brings the ball to ground, Atkins just taps it away. Jack is there tracking it. He can hit it towards D'Ambrosio, puts it on his left boot, curls it through the goals for a late one for the Hawks. Massimo D'Ambrosio gets a late one and his first of the evening. It means that margin is cut back to 39 points the Cats' way. Geelong 14-98, Hawthorn 9-5, 59, nearly 20 minutes played Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Well, D'Ambrosio's had 16 possessions. He's gone at 81% kicking efficiency, 345 metres, and 1 goal, 1. And I'm not sure whether they got him across from Essendon. They knew what sort of a player they had. He's been really good for them this year, and that finish there on his left foot was just full of class. And I think Sam Mitchell says, OK, if we can get the ball into this guy's hands pretty often, sort of around about 20-25 times a game, well then some good things will happen. So he's been a prize recruit for the Hawks.
First goal in the brown and gold, having been picked up previously in the mid-season draft by the Bombers. He finds his way to the Hawks, getting greater opportunity. Meek gets the clearance, hand pass to McKenzie, couldn't quite get it to McDonald. He breaks away from Tom Stewart, jams it on the boot, kicks up towards half forward. Watson and Humphreys tangle, it spills to the back, racing after it is Dempsey, sliding in, good desperation from Watson. It's eventually Sam de Koning for the Cats. Hand pass to Tui, links up with Duncan at left half back. All his composure and experience as he hand passes it to Dempsey, back to Mitch Duncan. They work it around the Hickey stand wing so beautifully from the Cats as Myers, hand pass to Atkins, up to centre half forward. Rowan takes the mark, sidesteps one way, then the other around Weddle, into the pocket looking for Cameron. Frost makes the spoil, clears to the back, Close trying to gather, hand pass back to Cameron down low, he can't take it, maybe wanted the high contact against Scrimshaw, he won't get it. And the umpire will throw it up in the right forward pocket for Geelong.
It's exactly what he wanted, but whoever it was, Scrimshaw I think it might have been, just stood there as Cameron played for it and didn't move, so the umpire had no reason to give that free kick.
So a double tap from Blitzars that he takes it himself, he's tackled, and the footy will come out towards Close, who can hand pass it to the boundary line to Cameron, who's happy to hold on to the footy and take the tackle from Carl Amon. And we'll have a throw in. Still inside Geelong's attacking 50.
This game needs a big hanger. Someone take a big hanger.
Needs something, doesn't it?
Yep, just needs something here at the minute.
Yeah, Gary Rowan's been quiet. He's kicked the 2 goals. He had 12 possessions, but he hasn't done many Gary Rowan-like things.
So de Koning down towards Amon, and he's tackled. We'll have another stoppage in front of that forward 50, or inside that forward 50. In front of packed Cardinia Park. Hawthorn doesn't come up here often. Just twice in the last 20 years. And it's Warple now with a clearing kick out. And Humphrey sitting back there. He's done this a couple of times tonight. Takes the mark, but he's given away the free kick. And it's Chol's footy at left half back for the Hawks, trailing by 39 points.
Marbiel Chol comes inboard for Mackenzie. At full stretch, he takes the mark at centre-half back. Hand pass to Weddle, cuts past Manor. Hand pass over the top to Chol, who just regathers. No, now he's lost it. As does the Hawks. It's Tom Stewart who gathers. Chips it up to Ollie Henry. He plays on with fresh legs. Runs away from Mackenzie. Lace out to Cameron. What a pass. And Jeremy Cameron down low claims it on his right-hand side. And Sean Manor goes straight to Ollie Henry and says, you can do that, you'll stay in the side.
What a kick. He had Frosty in front of him and Seamus Mitchell behind him, and he threaded it past both of them to the chest of Jeremy Cameron.
It's left a few out there today, Jezza. 3 goals, 4 in a day of what could have been for Jezza. A chance to move to the top of the board with 4 tonight. If he can kick truly here from pretty much directly in front, Jeremy Cameron comes in, leans back on it, but steers it through. And puts through his 4th goal of the match. And Geelong are eyeing the top 4, which is within reach. 2 goals apiece in this final term. Geelong 15-14, 104 to Hawthorn 9-5-59. The Cats will move into 4th, but of course Freo still to play against the Tigers tonight.
And who doesn't love a bit of Miley Cyrus on a Saturday night as well down here at Kardinia Park. Tune playing in the background, but Jeremy Cameron's been very good. It's been a game of territory, and the Cats have been dominant all game long. 60 inside 50s to 37, plus 23 inside 50s against a team that's coughed up 40 in the last 5 weeks, been the league's best at it, at defending them. It's been a real good night for the midfield, I reckon, of the Cats. Chris got to be wrapped about the performance of the guys around the contest through the middle of the ground. They've dominated the Hawks, who've been very good in their own right in the last 5 weeks.
Back in the middle, and it'll be another clearance from the Cats. Clark to De Koning, kicks right to the top of the 50. Up goes Cameron, can't hold on to the mark, takes the tackle and hand passes into some space. Warple tracks it back. He's tackled by Manor, brought to ground. That'll be a free going the way of the Cat. So well done by Sean Manor as he looks to try and keep himself in this Geelong side. He just chips towards Myers, who sidesteps his opponent. Direct kick right to the top of the 50 to Clark. Not 15, has to play on. He'll kick into the top of the 50 to the forward pocket. And the mark will be taken by Bowes.
He's started to get some good consistency in his game now, Jack Bowes, the last few weeks. This will be his 22nd possession today, which is a good effort, and started slowly with the Cats, but finding his feet.
He's in his 2nd season at Geelong now. He kicks towards Stengel, who tried to take the mark, but it was Mitchell who took it for Hawthorn. He kicks out to Amon, who chips to Moore, who's going for a run now along the wing.
Takes a bounce as Sam De Koning offers chase, and a second he runs the Hickey stand wing. Now Sean Manor comes in off support, turns and cuts inboard to Watson. He takes the mark between wing and half forward. Geelong by 45 points. As Watson looks long, Marbiel Chol one-on-one with Colin Chasney, puts it in that direction. It clears to the back, where Humphreys couldn't take it cleanly, trying to sock it off the deck, missing it Newcomb. Humphreys has another go, kicks towards the boundary. Umpire will normally call this insufficient intent, but tonight he says throw it in.
I reckon that was about right. He had a teammate out there he's trying to get the ball to, yeah.
I feel like if that happens any other time inside the arcs, that's insufficient intent.
Well, I think in the end, what we'll see is if it's in between the arcs, it goes outside, it'll be
definitely
the last touch. Which I think would be good for the game as well, right?
Take out any confusion, that's for sure, from the insufficient intent rule.
Well, that's another thing, yeah.
Dylan Moore done a good job tonight as captain. 26 possessions, the most for the Hawks, and 2 goals.
So the ball tossed up now at the top of the 50. Hand pass came to Manor from Clark. As Geelong work it away the wing, it's close to the boundary line. Myers punches it, trying to get it to Neil, but it just goes out of bounds. Right at centre wing, in front of the Hickey stand, the 3 premiership flags now lying still at the moment in this twilight fixture. We'll have a throw in.
Chris Scott not taking any risk with his guns. Stewart, Duncan, Ollie Dempsey's been a real headline act for them on the bench at the moment for these last couple of minutes.
I don't mind doing that, Geelong, just leaving them on the bench to make sure they don't get any injuries late. It's not a bad idea.
I'm all for it.
So tossed up, Blitzarves taps it down towards Holmes. The umpire's found a free kick. And there's a little bit of tussling going on the ground between Holmes and Mackenzie, as Holmes will take the kick inside 50. He'll go, and it's MP sitting at the front. Out-muscled Ollie Henry from the ball and takes the mark for Hawthorn. It's Geelong leading by 45.
Oh, went for Mitchell, missed him, sliding in close, opens up the angle, curls it with his right boot. Brad Close puts through his fourth and makes the Hawks pay. A 51-point lead Geelong's way. 16-14, 110 to the Hawks, 9-5-59. 3 goals to 2 Geelong's way in this final term. And the Cats have pounced at any error in which Hawthorn has given them.
Yeah, I think if we look at score sources for the Cats, quite a few of them will come directly from the boots of the Hawthorn players. And fourth goal there for Close. So
11 goals, 9 for turnover, Berkey.
Yeah, that's a lot. 11 goals, 9, 20 scoring shots from turnovers. And it's 2 Cats players with 4 goals. It's going to make it really hard for you to give votes tonight.
Oh, well done.
Handball.
I nearly did this 3 minutes ago. I nearly did this.
And
well done.
It just shows you charm and Impey. He's such an experienced player, but the pressure in which Geelong are brought.
So
big experience from Berkey.
He knows what he was doing. Manor again for Geelong. Hand pass across to Clark, who hand passes it to Myers. From 50 out, he'll kick to the top of the goal square to the forward pocket. Neil cleverly keeps the ball in. He's got a battle with 2, though. He can't win it out. He can now. He's still trying Neil. He picks it up and he hand passes it in the path of Close. In the end, it's Mitchell there for the Hawks, who just hurries a kick out. It could be coming back. Geelong able to keep it in there. Clark was there to stop it. Players just piled on top of him. But it'll be a forward 50 stoppage for Geelong, 40 metres out from the Cats' goal, sitting there with a 51-point lead.
Daniel Harford is scrambling. He is all of a sudden madly writing notes. As
all
Nash
good. I'm just trying to work him out.
gathers hand pass to McKenzie. I don't think there's any Hawks in there to make your life easy.
It's very straightforward.
Kicks up to Watson. Receives it off hands of Chol. Gets a hand pass away to McDonald. Hurries his kick up towards the right half forward. On the bounce, Blake Hardwick. Great pick up in front of Humphreys. He dodges around a couple, turns and kicks inboard. Down low for Marbiel Chol. He can't gather. The numbers win the battle. Rowan provided the support for Jack Henry. Kicks into the middle of the ground. Bounces wide of Neil. Blitzamps can't take it cleanly. It's picked up by Warple. Fair bit of the speed is taken out of this game. Kicks inside 50. Newcomb can't take the mark. Off hands it spills the way of Tui. Hand pass to Humphreys. He's locked up. It trickles out. It's gathered in the end by Bowes, who fires a hand pass out to Dempsey at right half back. He can work it around the back to Zach Guthrie.
Guthrie goes back to Dempsey, and Dempsey works it back to Guthrie, who this time puts it on his boot, gets it down to centre wing. Up goes Ollie Henry with the big fly, brings it down to ground. Amon just keeps it inside in front of the interchange gates. A swirly kick forward to half forward. Scrimshaw picks it up. Hand pass to Impey, who's taken in a tackle by Manor. There's another free kick to Sean Manor for his tackling efforts.
It's his 10th tackle. No, it's not. It's his 14th tackle.
It's pretty impressive for Sean Manor in his first season in footy and just his 3rd game. As the ball gets worked down to centre wing, and it's Geelong the winners after a lean run in recent matches. It's 2 in a row. They stay in touch with the top 4 after a crushing win against Hawthorn.
We are Geelong, the greatest team of all. We are Geelong, we're always on the ball. We play the game as it should be played.
From go to woe at Cardinia Park by 22 points at quarter time, out to 34 at the main break, then to 42 points at 3/4 time, and ended up 51-point winners against Hawthorn. Jeremy Cameron with 4 goals and Brad Close with 4 goals as well. The Cats now will jump into the top 4 momentarily pending Fremantle's results tonight, but they well and truly have put themselves back on the map.
We are Geelong, we're always on the ball. We play the game as it should be played, at home or far away. Our banners fly high from dawn to dark, down at Cardinia Park.
Geelong with their 10th win of the season as they eye the top 4. They jump up to 4th tonight. While for the Hawks, their 5-game winning streak comes to an end. A sobering drive back down the highway after a clinical display from the Cats. Winners by 51 points. The goal kickers, Jeremy Cameron booted 4, Brad Close booted 4, 2 to Sam De Koning, Gary Rowan and Shannon Neal. Individuals to Blitzhouse, Myers for the Cats, while for the Hawks, 2 to Marbiel Chol, Tilt to Dylan Grimes and 2 to Mitch Lewis. Individuals to Warple, Jaff and D'Ambrosio. The Cats move to 10 and 6 The Hawks are now 8-8, with the Dockers to come for the Hawks in Tassie, while the Cats turn their eyes to a big Friday night clash with the Magpies at the MCG. Daniel Harford and Nathan Burke with how they saw Geelong's 51-point victory.
Well, pretty much right from the opening bounce, Geelong dominated. Hawthorn had their little periods where they played some good football, but primarily this was Geelong's evening. Inside 50s were 63 to 39, and from those 63, they had 30 scoring shots, and that's not counting the ones that didn't actually make the distance or went out on the full. So they dominated pretty much every aspect of the game. The only thing that the Hawks got in front was they won clearances by 2. But if you look at the cleanliness of the clearance, that was certainly in Geelong's favour. The ball hit the ground. It seemed like they had extra players because any time a player got in trouble, there was another player running past to link up. If that player was in strife, there was another one there and another one there. Whereas the Hawks just didn't have that. As soon as they got a player in trouble, it was a quick, throw the ball on the boot or just bang it forward somehow. Marby or Chol didn't have a big night. I was watching him pretty closely. It wasn't his fault because when they did kick the ball to him, they didn't kick it to his advantage. They missed him quite a few times, and it would have been a horror night to be a forward for the Hawthorn team. They only went inside 50 39 times, and when they did take it inside 50, it was fairly haphazard. So I think a lot of it, and Half mentioned it a lot during the call, and they're absolutely spot on. The way Geelong defend this ground, if you allow them to defend this ground really well, it just makes it so hard to get the ball, not only past them, but pass them cleanly and openly so you can make some really good decisions with the ball. And Hawthorn tonight were just a little bit devoid of risk. Right from the very start of the game, they just played the one side of the ground, banging the ball outside 50, kept coming straight back in, and it didn't get a lot better throughout the evening as well. I would have liked to have seen them say, look, probably not going to win this game. Let's just take this game on and see what happens. And if we're going to lose, maybe we lose big. And in the end, they lost big, but they didn't really show a lot of dare. So disappointing night for the Hawks, and certainly they've been outstanding. You can't take anything away from them in the last 2 months, but sort of a big thud back down to earth tonight against what is a contender. And just goes to show the young Hawks how good they have to be in all aspects of the game. Everything down to smothering. That was something that the Cats were so much better at the Hawks at tonight. So it's not just because they're a good team because they're so skillful. They do the basics really, really well.
Yeah, couldn't agree more, Berkey. It's a great summary of the night and the Cats' performance. They pretty much from the start of the game set the game alight with a centre clearance, and that was pretty much theirs from the taking from that position onwards. The Hawks should be disappointed, I reckon. It was a real opportunity to stamp themselves as a contender, or a finals contender, not a premiership contender, but a finals contender, to come down here and get a scalp. They weren't able to do it, not because they weren't good enough, it's because the opposition were way too good tonight. I'm super impressed watching the Cats up close for the first time this year and seeing the way it's not what they do when they've got the ball. They're skillful and talented, and they've got great work rate up and down the ground, but it's the decisions they make, it's their ability to want to defend and get the ball back, which has impressed me as much as anything else tonight. We know they're set up behind the ball, as they set the ground beautifully, but they want the ball. They want the ball back to own possession of the game. And you go through the numbers at the end. A contested possession, they were plus 18. Uncontested plus 32. Goals from turnover plus 5. Clearances, centre clearances to plus 1 against Hawks, who have dominated that area of the ground in the last 10 weeks, really, and plus 24 inside 50. So their ability to get the ball back, lock it in their forward 50, and their ground ball work inside forward 50, which I touched on a few times through the call, it really did set them apart from their opposition tonight, and they deserve to be the victors on the evening by a healthy margin, which they were at 51 points.
Where do you think it puts them amongst the competition? Sydney on top, Carlton in second. All of a sudden, Essendon and a few others have started to have their stumbles and their splutterings in a season which feels so even. Where do you feel like Geelong's best are? And all of a sudden, Jeremy Cameron has now kicked 11 goals in his last 4 games. The question is still going to be around their midfield as to whether they have enough depth to challenge the best.
Yeah, and that's why I think tonight's a really important night for them, because I think their midfield won, despite the fact that Warple and Impey for a little while through there, but Newcomb played all right for the Hawks. Will Day obviously played all right for the Hawks. I think they were the better midfielders. We see Gary Rowan getting the chairlift from Paddy Dangerfield and Jeremy Cameron for his 200th game. It's a very slow chairlift from those two gentlemen at the moment. No intensity or pace to that whatsoever. It's gone about 7 metres and they've dropped him. But well done to Gary Rowan on his 200th game, and he walked away with a couple of snags. But I just reckon tonight was a really important night for their midfield to show how good they could be structurally as much as anything else. Get their hands on the footy as well. And Tom Stewart again showed that he's an ace in the pack for Chris Scott to be able to flip magnets every now and then when they get their full squad back and get their full midfield back. Get Tanner Bruin back into that team. Get Guthrie back in there as well if they can get him back. So opportunities there. But I think, just on your question, Clinchy, I think the Cats are going to push themselves to a position where they might be able to contend for top 4. Their draw's pretty good on the way home. Collingwood away, Bulldogs here, North away, they should win that. Adelaide here, Freo on the road. It's going to be a challenge. It's the Kilda and West Coast to finish. They could win another 5 games, and that puts them in top 4 calculations.
Yep. 5 wins would get them to 15 wins for the season. That's certainly top 4.
I reckon they're in it up to their eyeballs, and they're a long way from their best. This is the best I've seen them play from a start of a game, from a 4-quarter perspective. Last week against the Bombers, there were some really good signs with that win, but this was a 4-quarter performance, which I think Chris got to be wrapped about.
Gary Rowan in his 15th season of AFL footy plays game 200. Kicked a couple of goals tonight, having played his junior footy with the Compton Bombers, a Geelong Falcons boy. 9 years at the Sydney Swans in his 6th season with the Cats. He's been a premiership player and now gets the chance to enjoy a family moment. We can bring you some of the reaction courtesy of Fox Footy. Cam Mooney caught up with Tom Stewart post-game.
Tommy, I guess over the last couple of weeks you've been building and building. Carlton may have got a hold of you a little bit, but the last 2 weeks, do you feel like you're back?
I wouldn't say we're back, Moons, but some of our contested work tonight against a really, really quality opposition was a standout for me. We knew we had to get back to work. It's a bit of a throwaway comment, but we weren't playing the way we wanted to. So we went back to the things that we doubled down on, the things we know we're good at, and we're starting to see the fruits of our labour now.
What about your own form? Obviously, there was a lot of speculation or talk about your form down back, getting tagged, all of those type of things. You've moved into the midfield. Tell us about this move.
Yeah, Scotty sort of came to me a few weeks ago and just floated the idea, and I thought I'd be stupid to keep sort of toiling away at the things that were giving the opposition a good look. So moved in the midfield and gave the boys a chop out, and probably coincided with Pat coming back, and just a bit of a freshen up and just
throw playing out of position, mate.
Yeah, I'll throw my weight around and see what I can do, mate. No, it's good fun in there. Sammy De Koning tonight was fantastic. Tommy Atkins is an amazing player to play with, and I just thought if I could go in there and help him out and do what I do, why not?
Tell us about Sam De Koning. I mean, clearly we know he's a premiership defender. Moved into the ruck over the last few weeks. Tell us about that move.
Yeah, pretty similar, to be honest with you. DK was a cornerstone of our premiership team in 2022 as a 20, 21-year-old that was playing on the best forward every week. So he had a massive rise really, really quickly, and it's expected to young players have a bit of a plateau. So same sort of thing, just throw him around the ball. His ground level work's as good as anybody I've ever seen at that size. He burnt me at one stage on the far side for a handball receive, laced Shannon Neal in, and bloody hell, I almost went after him. But that's the thing, we want to celebrate his strengths and what he brings to that table. So he's a super player.
Lawson Humphries, give me a word on him.
Cool.
Very cool?
Very cool, mate. Unflappable, that bloke. I love him. Love him to death. Obviously, his journey is unique, as everyone's is, but, he's come in, and the way that he's approached his footy, I'm very envious of him. He's hard, as I said, he's unflappable, and he's bloody good fun to play with.
Speaking of envious, I just said to you before, I'm very envious of you boys getting to play here. Packed house tonight. God, it was a good atmosphere.
So good, mate. So good. We don't have the luxury of having the trench coat and the scarf on, but mate, this place is incredible. As I said to you off air, you guys built this for us, and we're trying to carry on that legacy. We love playing here, we love our fans, and we love everything about this place.
Love watching you play, brother. Well done, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Tom Stewart there chatting with Cameron Mooney, courtesy of Fox Footy. As the Cats make their way down in the rooms, the kids get their chance to come out onto Kardinia Park, a kick-to-kick with the lights on. Let's join Geelong as they belt out their song.
Hey, we are Geelong, the greatest team of all. Hey, we are Geelong, we're always on the ball. We play the game as it should be played. Hey, at home or far away. Our hands fly high, from north to south, down at Kardinia Park.
Geelong winners by 51 points at Kardinia Park, 16-14, 110 to the Hawks 9-5-59 in a match in which Brad Close finished with 4 goals. Jeremy Cameron booted 4 goals. Neither could have been for Jezza. What did he end up with? He finished with 4-4. Leading the way for the Cats as Geelong move to 10 and 6. They'll be inside the top 4, for now, depending on what happens with Fremantle and Richmond tonight, which is where our Western Australian audience is heading next. For everyone else, it's the Giants and the Blues from Sydney. The votes for the ABC Football of the Year. The fourth quarter hand pass from Nathan Burke to Daniel Harford.
Flick pass.
Yeah, 1 vote to Cameron. I think Jeremy deserved the right to be in the votes tonight. Kicked 4 goals for, set the game up early doors. Could have broken it early, didn't do so, but he ended up with 19 disposals, 485 metres gained, which was fourth, I think, or for the game. 13 score involvements and a couple of really important tackles too, and I'd just love to see his defensive efforts tonight as much as his goal kicking and shots at goal. So he gets 1 vote tonight. Sam de Koning gets 2 votes as well. He was brilliant. I'm really enjoying watching his evolution as this new ruck for the Cats. It was a bit of a prayer a couple of weeks ago, I thought, but there might be a fair bit to work with. And what we've seen again here tonight would suggest that you would continue that experiment. He was very, very good. 20 disposals if you want to play the numbers game. 2 goals as well from the ruck position, but nullified and beat, I think, Lloyd Meek in the ruck for the Cats and provided his mids with first use. And then 3 votes for the guy who controlled the game. Berkey was onto this very early, I must admit. He controlled the game, Mitch Duncan, as he has done down here for eons. Ended up with 25 disposals. They're not groundbreaking disposals, but just the way he rebounded and put himself in positions where he was in the middle of everything Hawthorn were trying to do in the first 3 quarters of the game. Last quarter was a bit of a fizzer. First 3 quarters of the game, I thought he was the one that controlled the game for the Cats tonight. So he gets the 3 votes for the ABC Footballer of the Day.
3 to Duncan, 2 to Sam de Koning and 1 to Jeremy Cameron from Daniel Harford in Geelong's 51-point win over the Hawks. We touched a bit about on the Cats and what might be possible for a young Hawthorn side under Sam Mitchell. It's the end of a 5-game winning streak. You wonder what impact the trip back from Perth, having played last Sunday. But, unfortunately, the absence of James Sicily and really a dominant first quarter by the Cats. The concern around Mitch Lewis leaving the field after a head knock and an awkward tangle of his knee. So there'll be a nervous 24 hours for Hawks fans.
Yeah, be a watch on that knee injury, if that is a concern or not for them. Great to see him back out there. And they're going to still find themselves, particularly in the forward area of the ground, with Chol and Lewis. That hasn't been a combination they've seen at all, really. So that's going to take some time to blend. You lose Ginnivan out of there. Bruce comes back into the team. So there's different dynamics coming in and out of this forward half for the Hawks at the moment. And I think if there is an area of the ground you'd want to try and see some stability and improvement, that's probably it for Hawthorn, I reckon. Dylan Moore's been a great player for them. We know that Watson does some great things defensively but doesn't hit the scoreboard enough. Gunston's playing a role, is not really that key forward anymore. They probably lack some power in that area of the ground. I know they play a bit dynamic footy, and McDonald and that McKenzie and those sort of guys are hybrids who can impact the scoreboard at times, but I just think probably 1 or 2 more real key forwards or power forwards would be a real big bonus for this Hawthorn side. So keep an eye on Lewis. They'll be around the mark. They'll win, 11 games maybe for the year, and at the start of the year you'd probably say that's a pretty good win.
Was there a reality check tonight for them, Berkey?
Yeah, it was. And I think Hawthorn are in the position where they'll win the games that they should, and they'll get reality check against these sort of teams. The Cats coming down here to play the Cats, it's, we often say it's one of the, if not the hardest assignment in football when the Cats are up and playing really, really well. So I think Sam Mitchell, he won't be upset. He would have secretly sort of harboured, can we pinch one down here? And I think he would have been thinking, fairy tale, come down here, pinch one, keep the streak going. But the reality in him would have said, this is a really, really hard ask for us, especially without Sicily playing in this team. And he can go away and say, guys, that's how far we've still got to go. So any thought of us getting ahead of ourselves has certainly been shot in the foot very, very quickly.
They have Freo next week. Collingwood, Adelaide, the Giants, Carlton, Richmond at the MCG in North Melbourne to close out the home and away season from Tasmania. So they would have to win the bulk of them if they're to feature in September, but they've certainly given their fans a clear indication as to where they're trying to head. A couple of minutes before we head in different directions for our Western Australian audience, we're heading to Perth, where the Fremantle Dockers take on the Tigers. There's no late changes there with Michael Walters, the sub for the Dockers, and Sam Banks. We're starting to believe in Freo?
My word, I think they're a top 4 lock. I've got them as a lock in the top 4.
A lock?
Yep.
I like that.
Yep. I think they're the real deal. They've had their hiccups on the way. They've tinkered with a few things. Their bases defence, it's not always sexy, and people don't always like that in footy, but I think that's a nice foundation to build from, and they're adding their attack to the game at the moment. I think they're a top 4 lock.
Are you a strong Berkey?
After last week, yeah, I think it was a really smart game last week. They took away what Sydney wanted, and they were able to do that. Not a lot of teams are able to do that. And they still played the way that they wanted to play the game. So I think the way he's got them playing is a style that will beat top teams.
So 9 wins at the moment, 5 home games in the 8-week stretch. Yep. They don't lose too many over in Perth, and they're against pretty good opposition to beat too. So I'm backing them in.
No late changes for the Blues and the Giants. James Peopling and Matt Owies are the respective subs, where the majority of our audience are heading in 90 seconds' time. Less than that, 50 seconds' time. The Kangas with their second win of the season. How would they be celebrating back in the 90s? Saturday night on the town.
Yeah, what's tonight? A 7:30 Saturday night. So they're at the G-Bung at the moment. Then they'll be going to the depot, then the Star Bar, and then they'd end up at the tunnel with the drink cards and the Maduri shakers.
Okay.
That's what they would have done Saturday night back in the old days.
He knew that too well, didn't he?
His recollection is incredible. The Kangas winners by 4 points over the Gold Coast Suns, which had Damien Hardwick seething Port Adelaide, the other winners so far for this Saturday of round 17. Thanks to Half. Great to have you a part of the team. Thank you to Berkey, to Jonesy. Back in the studio, to Smooth Jules at the back of the box, and to Lauren as well. We head in different directions. The Cats winners by 51 points. Good night.